Mic check 1 2 1 2. If anyone can hear me, just push 1. I think my mic volume might be down. Check this. Yeah, it's down. All right, got a confirmation. All right, man, we back, man. This is open chat number 33. Let's chop it up, man. Waiting for the others to arrive. We'll give them a few minutes before we come, before they come. Just give me a few seconds. Yeah, man, we've had a very good week. What's going on, Super Triz? We've had a very good week. You know, we appeared at Black Ram 313. Went over there, chopped up some geopolitical, economic, and you know, technology game with him. Shout out to Black Ram 313 for having us on the panel. We're gonna be on Gab Talk Media on Sunday, so make sure y'all check us out over there as well. So we can be chopping up game over there. Also, make sure y'all check out the community tab, man, because we post things on there on a weekly basis. All types of stuff gets posted over there. So if you want to know how you get to the community tab, let me show you. Because I know a lot of people are new to the channel and new to YouTube, so they haven't really been around to really understand what we're talking about. So you want to go to our channel. Share my screen real quick. If you can look at the screen now, you go to the channel, it says home, videos, playlist, community. Make sure you click on community. And what you'll see is things that we post on a weekly basis. Some things are beneficial to some people. So make sure you check it out. Give it a thumbs up on anything that gets posted. We were also on the Prophet of Thought. So shout out to TPOT. He had us on his live stream 3 weeks ago. So we chopped up some game over there with him. So yeah, man, things get posted there. Make sure you check it out daily. We had a great live stream last night. Another open chat about flightless birds. Yeah, about flightless birds, man. We burned it down, man. So make sure y'all go check that out when you spare time as well. I see the channel is growing, so we want to make sure we accommodate all these new subscribers and welcome y'all as we should. I think early in the month we had a live stream talking about subscriber appreciation day. So subscriber appreciation day, man. We just open up the panel so that you all can jump on, man, and kind of freestyle and do whatever you think it is that you can do on the panel, man. As long as there's no disrespect. But yeah, just waiting for a couple of people to join, man. I haven't seen them as of yet, so. Albert Bird says, Mike, did you see the story Angry Man did on the Flightless Bird Judge? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. Yeah, Chris Crawford, tell him, man, tell him. Says, close the door now. Can you make a StreamYard? I don't use StreamYard particularly because it's beta software. And I don't want to mix beta software with production use work. So what we do here is more production based. And StreamYards is too buggy, in my opinion, to be used for production work. Zoom is a lot more stable and more mature than obviously StreamYard. And so Zoom gets the final choice. We're not even using all the features of Zoom. We're probably using 10 to 20% of the features. But outside of that, we haven't used all of the features. There's a lot of things you can do with Zoom. So, yo, what's going on, MOT?
You there? I don't hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were muted.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let me just send the links out, man. Let me send it to Jay Shine too. There's a link in the chat, right?
Yeah. I mean, I clicked on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where did it go. Let me refresh my page, see what happened. Okay, yeah, I see it now. Hey, what's going on, Super Triz?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? What's
Chilling.
going on, MOT?
Chilling, man.
Oh, what's going on, man?
Yeah, salute to the live chat as well.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me. Oh, I just want to say just real quick, man. I'm pretty sure everybody is already aware of Man of Tomorrow's channel. Man of Tomorrow has been. I was giving him the fire emoji, but I had to switch to the volcano because he dropping lava on this channel. So y'all definitely need to go check out Man of Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
How
Thanks, man.
yeah, how long are your privileges suspended for?
For me?
Yes.
No, I got an attorney. I got him back.
Okay.
No, it's just that, I've just been looking at all these ranches and all this stuff up and down and across the United States. So that's what I've been doing. So,
Okay.
I mean, because that's my next stop is getting into ranching, you know.
Hmm. All right, man. Let me see if I can cover a few topics before we while we wait for the others to join. Um, so yeah, man, I got my Spartan competition coming up November 9th, man. I'll probably post pictures of that. I don't think I'll be doing any video because I don't think you're gonna be able to carry anything on board while you're doing your competition. But we'll be up in Fenway Stadium getting it in. So where the Red Sox play. So competition will be coming up.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Still looking for a
What,
car, man. Yeah, go ahead.
what was the prep work for that like? Prep work for the competition?
Oh man, it's grueling work, man. Spartan actually has a workout seminar, a workout training every Saturday. Uh, it's body weight training, but it's pretty brutal, man. It's pretty brutal because they move at a fast pace. There's very little downtime for resting, so you're basically doing a lot of body weight, a lot of burpees and things like that. So I think we did like 100 burpees, like in like 20 minutes or something like that, something crazy. It was,
Damn. Woo.
yeah, yeah. So, and I thought I was in shape, man, but I was getting my ass kicked out there, but I'm good now, man. I've been prepping with the rowing machine. I post a lot of the workout of the days, my WODs on the community tab, so people can kind of follow along. But yeah, I'm increasing my deadlifts now. I'm hitting at least 5 reps on 300. So
Oh, that's up.
yeah, I'm doing at least 200 cal, 250 cal on the rower. So um, tomorrow morning I'm gonna hit back, do some back conditioning, some scapular work. Only thing that's hurting me right now is my wrist, man. I think I overdid it a little bit too much. Plus, in combination with carpal tunnel syndrome, some CPT, man. Got to get a better keyboard if I want to survive. So
Yeah, I have a lot of problems with my wrist, and it's usually because um I'm going too heavy too frequently. So now what I've started doing just recently, like I'm talking about in the last like 3 weeks, is that I'll alternate. I'll do like just work out one heavy day a week, and then the next week I'll do light. And so like my heavy day is going to be barbells. So I'll use like I'll do the bench press, maybe 315 on the bench, do that for reps. But on my light day, I'll just use the dumbbells because the dumbbells only go up to 125. So you really can't like overdo the dumbbells anyway.
mm-hmm.
So I'll just try to start doing that. And actually, I've already seen improvement. Like my wrist is like 100% better just off of doing that. Because it's really a lot of times it's 90% of the time it's ligaments and tendons.
Yeah,
Your muscles have a really great blood supply, and your bones as well have a very good blood supply. As a matter of fact, in an emergency, we can access your bones for IV access. That's how good the blood supply is.
mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. It's called an intraosseous catheter. You have to drill into the bone. There's a couple sites that we prefer. And in an emergency, we can get quick access. For a lot of times, somebody's in shock, or maybe like somebody who's a drug user, or somebody who has like a lot of health issues may not have good veins, and so sometimes you need to access something quickly. In an emergency, you can go in the bones. And but anyways, your tendons and ligaments, they don't really have a good blood supply. So that's the reason why a lot of those injuries that occur to your joints, they take forever to heal. Some of them don't heal. Some of them times they require surgical intervention, and depending on the type of injury, you'll never be 100%. Once you injure your joints, so it's very important to protect them as much as you possibly can by number one, using good form, and number two, ensuring that you have rest periods and recovery periods between your workouts. That's of particular importance, and that's not so much for your muscles, and like I said, it's more for your tendons and ligaments, which pretty much constitutes your joints.
Yeah, I kind of cut down the rest periods only because I only rest during transition. So if I'm going from one section to another, that's my downtime. But
I'm not talking about during your workout. I'm talking about like on your, like, say for instance, you do your workout and then like the next time you work out that specific muscle group, you want to ensure that there's been a period of rest and recovery time between those two actual workouts. So like if you do chest, like some people come in the gym and they do chest, 4 times a week. And then
really?
they want shoulders and jack.
Yeah, that happens. If depending if the guys are prepping for something, man. If you're trying to do IFBB or something like that, they'll probably try to get ripped pretty quickly. But I see a lot of guys, some bro science saying, "Oh, every day is leg day. Don't skip leg day," and things like that. So I think overtraining is the term that should be used here or could be used here, and people are going a little bit beyond their limits. So but yeah, my right wrist has been killing me, man. So I think I'm gonna go and get a brace for it and just kind of sleep with that with some icy hot.
It's my right wrist too, all the time. You know what I think it is?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the right wrist because that's the wrist that you use for your mouse too. So combine that with the keyboard repetition and constantly using your mouse, in particular the mouse, because the way you hold the mouse and then you're using your index finger and your second finger to press the left and right mouse buttons, and that I think contributes to the aggravating carpal tunnel type repetition that kind of predisposes you to wrist injury.
Yeah, makes sense. I got an ergonomic mouse, so I got a Logitech ergonomic mouse. So for that very reason, haven't had too much problems with that, but I think it has to do a lot more with the typing. I'm usually firing up, a lot of documentations and things like that for work. But when I'm home, my computer has a touchscreen, so I'm very rarely am I ever even using a mouse. I'm usually just flicking the screen with my fingers. So.
Okay, but and now look at the touch screen. The ergonomics of the touch screen that's in front of you is flat, and you have to the way you have to orient your wrist. You see what I'm saying? In order to touch the screen, you have to basically flex your wrist backwards. The same concept of that causes problem with carpal tunnel, which is why they have the pads, because you want your wrist to kind of flex forward, like well, I'm trying to figure a nice way to put it, but you got to kind of you got a limp wrist. You like when you're doing your keyboard, you're typing and stuff like that. The limp wrist, position is what's recommended to prevent that repetitious type injury. But when you're actually touching the screen, you're doing the exact opposite.
Yeah,
go ahead, Emilton.
I used to have like this plug-in USB type of keyboard, and man, that thing messed my fingers up, dude. Because it was pretty much kind of like felt, but I was pressing too hard on it, still hitting the back of whatever the back was, whether it's a table or something like that. Man, I had to get rid of that thing fast, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Because man, that thing was messing my hands up.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what's going on, Johnny Blaze? You got your hand raised.
Hey, not too much. Hey, Super Triz is 100% correct because I'm having the exact same issue now. And what I've done, I had to switch my mouse. I'm using my left hand now completely at home and at work.
Oh, you're ambidextrous.
Well, not, but I'm training myself because I'm having the exact same kind of pain you're having. And he's 100%. It's that daggone mouse and that keyboard. It's that slight bent back motion that he's talking about. That's what's causing it.
Well, he's doing 315 on the bench, man. You know, I'm only doing like 200 on the bench max, man. So I'm nowhere near. I'm nowhere near that, man. So, but I use fat grips too, and I think fat grips have contributed to a lot of my issues, man. So, when I was deadlifting, I was deadlifting with fat grips.
You know, I was in the gym Wednesday, and I didn't hit the gym at all the week prior. Had like some little minor surgery, but for the first time in about 15 years, I threw up 185. I shocked myself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you use pre-workout or anything like that?
No, all the thing I take, I just do some regular little whey protein, and that's about it. I'm 100% natural.
Okay. Yo, we got C Boogie in the building, man. What's going on? Dom Gang Division.
Okay, everybody hear me?
We can hear your mic's breaking up though.
I'm driving, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. We can hear you now. We can hear you clear.
Okay, we're driving to kind of a better area at one point. But yeah, man. Shout out to everybody on the channel, man. So it was a hangout that I wanted to clear up a few things. Kind of let guys know what's going on. Some very alarming things going on. And the well, I don't want to speak for those guys, but from my position, you know, here's what's going on. I think a lot of cats are kind of losing their mind on some level because there were quite a few instances in my comment section alone that guys really just got out of pocket with some behavior to me that was really just unacceptable. Like, let me give you a couple examples.
Okay.
I would say maybe a few, probably about a month ago, maybe a month or less. This female left a comment in my comment section. You know, she kind of said whatever. You know, I believe it was something along the lines of, you know, my dad told me this, told me that about men, and there was a guy. You know, I'm not gonna say no names, but there was a guy that's pretty, you know, known around here, and you know, his answer to this female was, you know, she wasn't disrespectful or nothing, but his answer was, well, tell your dad to suck my fat black, you know what?
Yeah.
Right. And so I woke up that morning and I'm checking my comments and I'm like, you know, it was a long comment thread. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I'm reading through it. I'm like, okay, let me address this. And right after that, the next situation was, you know, with this DJ Kid guy, right? So I did a video, and I guess the main culprit of that was Preem and a couple other guys. But long story short, guys was in my comment section, you know, basically, you know, just wishing the demise of these women. So I'm like, okay, what are we doing now? And so Jay Sean, you know, he was telling me about, you know, I wasn't there, but he was telling me some things that was going on on somebody else's panel that was very similar. So I'm like, okay, let me address it, because to me, that's no matter what's going on, that's just unacceptable behavior. When you inviting people to your penis, I mean, really for no reason, man. So when the hangout with Jay Sean and Cerulean, that was pretty much the place that I was coming from, and Jay Sean was coming from. Like, yo, man, there needs to be some quality control on some level amongst the men. And sometimes I think that's taken as, well, excuse me, well, these guys don't want to hold women accountable, and that's not the case at all. Basically my position is, you can hold people accountable, but still keep your class. Still keep some tact with this thing. Once you get to inviting people to your penis and, kind of just waging war, really in situations where that's uncalled for, situations where maybe conversations can be had, I'm just starting to see, I think I took the wrong goddamn action. I'm sorry, I'm driving. I'm just starting to see cats just kind of doing shit that I just think personally is beneath us. And so that's pretty much what that episode or hangout, the origins of it was. Okay, well, if I'm addressing the men at that time, I don't want to hear about what women are doing, because I'm addressing men and now behavior, and to me that behavior is unsatisfactory. And even just speaking for myself, I don't want anybody silenced, or I can care less about that. But when I'm seeing things of this nature, my radars go up. Like, all right, what is really going on? Is this, are we trying to actually do anything, or do we just want to stay in the same place and just beat up on these bras? We had years and years of that, and I kind of think that's pretty much where I'm coming from. And so even with this, well, I'll let y'all talk, and I'll go ahead. I'm trying to drive and hit the GPS and do too much shit, but I'll let y'all go.
No, that's cool. MOT, you have anything you want to add to that? I think MOT might be driving too. Here's what I'll say to this, man.
Sorry about that. Sorry, that was muted. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so this is what I'm saying here, man. How women act in this sector towards men. I don't think we should display any level of principle with these people until they start acting right as a whole, period. I mean, I understand that men are supposed to act with principle, but these women are making decisions and options and creating the kids that we don't want to be surrounded by. So if we are going to only want men to keep changing and require nothing out of women, then the whole thing's a wash. I mean, so just trying to have men act in a principled stance while you got all these women who's never been addressed at all, I think we're just addressing one side of the issue and just saying that if men become more principled, all of a sudden the women become more principled as a result, and I don't think that's the case. I mean, that's never been the case.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm speaking on a few issues. I'm not even talking about kids. I'm just talking about behavior. And in what circumstance is suck my big black dick, satisfactory?
No, I never said that was satisfactory. No, I'm talking about behavior overall versus behavior overall.
No, I know what you're saying, but you know, this has reached a point where, you know, me personally, I'm alarmed. You know, even if I go back to when I used to take phone calls on Blog Talk Radio, and guys was calling up like, yo, you know, I want these bitches dead. And I'm like, oh, fuck. You know what I'm saying? This, I got to take this down. And so I'm like, look, no, seriously. I'm like, you know, I can't keep this up. So, like I said.
But did you have a dialogue and ask them why?
Well, Game Changer asked him why. I said, hang up on this guy. That's not the kind of energy that I'm going to accept on my platforms by any men or women. You know what I mean? By any men or women. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not too familiar, you know, because I don't debate women, right? I don't even watch a lot of those channels, but I know people be getting to it and everything. But what I'm saying is, you know, when is too much too much? That's pretty much what I'm saying. When is too much too much?
Do we draw the line?
Yeah, like when is, you know, when does wishing death on somebody, you know, when did that become a fashion trend? When did that become cool? And when does it stop? Or is this supposed to keep going? Because to me, you know, if this shit keeps up, the next Elliot Rodgers gonna come out this crowd of people.
Yeah, but you have to understand, C Boogie, that what these people are mad at, they are mad at something specific. I'm not defending them, but we have created an actual space to where if you talk about your issues as a man, it doesn't really come out until it's way too late. We don't have a culture to where we could talk about these circumstances that these kids grow up in, that everybody wants everybody to be quiet about. And then all of a sudden it becomes an issue when it comes out the wrong way, right? I mean, there's a lot that happens up until the point to where the person wants to do XYZ thing. And I think that we have created a space to where we can't even talk about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Period. It's kind of like, it's like for me, I mean, I have sent the ambulance after people. Like, nah, man, you got to go to 72-hour hold, bro, for that. And I don't give a damn. I will come to the hospital and I'll stay with your ass to make sure your ass go. But it's just at the end of the day, these people have no voice out here, and by the time it comes out for them to actually talk about this stuff, it's way too late, man. I mean, so we need to create a space so these people can talk about their issues, no matter how hard or how rude it starts out. You know, sometimes, man, you got to be able to listen to what the issues are. Man, what's going on, man?
Yeah, we you loading up the AK, man? Is that an AR?
You talking about me?
Yeah.
Nah.
Thought you was loading up an SK rifle, man.
Nah. Good. Nah. Not tonight, man. You gotta put that up, man.
I agree with C Boogie that
Oh, I agree with him too. Yeah, I do.
I just want to put this out here so that people who listen understand what we're talking about. When you start violating the community guidelines of social media, then you're overboard for everybody's channel. Because what you say can get that channel flagged, and that's not fair, because you can go on about your business, that guy can go on about his business, but the channel is down, and that's unfair to the channel owner. So I understand that there should be some censorship. We really don't have that problem on this channel because we kind of have a level of etiquette that where if you come onto this panel, you're gonna self-censor yourself, right? But I agree with MOT as well that there are a lot of invisible men who are not able to speak publicly because either they can't articulate themselves or they just don't have a platform to speak from. And so they lean on certain content creators to be their voice of the everyday brother. And that person becomes, you know, the megaphone for them. And so when it's time for them to actually speak publicly on social media, man, there's a lot of things come out of their mouth, man, that is like uncouth. So I agree, but I can see it from both sides, man. I think that at some point, we have to actually have a shadow ban list, man, for certain people, man, so that they can't just come around here, trying to pull a what's the cat from 2009 that went kind of berserko, Tony Smith, Anthony Smith on YouTube, man. You know, he was an incel. So,
well, see, here's what I'm saying too. Now, so just to dive in a little bit further. Mm-hmm. Now, the guy that left the comment about, suck my big fat black, you know what? Now this is a guy that's a 2-time baby daddy. Y'all can probably figure out who I'm talking about.
Yep.
Now,
oh my God,
this guy's a 2-time baby daddy, and what he does is go around YouTube and pick fights with these women. And here's my thing: it's a lot of scumbags running around here, and they're making it hard for guys to get out legitimate issues. So, for instance, now we've all, seen, the little, scrummage with me and Obsidian pretty much all year. And one of the biggest things that came out of that was, we was riding with him for a while because we thought, he kind of cared about the community. But once we got through all the fluff, it was all about pussy to him. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was disheartening, man. Mm-hmm. Because we out here doing all of this, and I know I was out there front lining for this guy when anybody came at Obsidian at one point. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, he made it very clear, no, this is about pussy. And I was like, I can't roll with you, bro. That's a personal issue that you got to work on, and good luck. You know what I'm saying? More power to you, man. But so it's a lot of that going on around here. So it's kind of like, okay, what's what now? You know what I mean? Like, what are we really doing? There's a faction of guys that kind of want to, shame women into sleeping with dudes. Then you got a group over here with legitimate issues like, yo, this is the community. Then you got the kind of, I guess, maybe pro-black sector over there that I'm really not too familiar with, mm-hmm. but I get what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And that's why I kind of just bounced on my own. Like, all right, well, I can kind of better monitor what I'm into and what I'm not into. Mm-hmm. And, I tend to drive in my own lane on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I just stay within my own circumference of what I know. But so basically what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, oh yeah. Let me put a finer point on that, mm-hmm. about the 2-time baby daddy. Now, there's a lot of that going around. There's a lot of guys that created a mess, so to speak, mm-hmm. and said, fuck it, I don't want to clean up my own mess. Now, that's when I bring out this mirror. I'm like, nah, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Nah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge anybody. But don't tell me you made a mess and you won't even take accountability for the things you did. If you say she a thought and you put your penis in her, well, you know what comes with that. And to me, if we can't agree on that fundamentally, that is a hypocrite, then I think we are far off on what manhood is. Bottom line. Dog, you ever see the movie American Gangster with Denzel Washington?
Yep.
And he said that's $25,000 alpaca. You better block that shit. That's what I'm telling guys, nigga. You made a mess. That's $25,000 alpaca. You better block that shit. You made a mess out here. I did things that I'm not proud of, that I know I got to go back and kind of make right. You know what I'm saying? So the mirror is for me too. And like I say, if we can't agree on what accountability is, then I'm like, dog, we lost in the sauce. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So And I think when these things get said, it's taken as, well, nobody want to hold these women accountable. And I'm like, no. That word never came out of my mouth. That statement never came out of my mouth. What I'm saying is, once I noticed a lot of fuckery with the guys, I'm talking about being straight hypocrites. Now, I got a file, but I'm not going to get into this file about what's going on really behind the scenes. But what I'm saying is, as the days go by and I find out more information, the more disappointed I get. Now, we know stories. Guys are fucking these YouTube chicks. All right, whatever. You know, none of my business, right? But yet, they can sit in good faith on a microphone and talk about thoughts and whores. I'm like, well, dog, as long as you still fucking the bad ones, every time you put your penis in her, you're doing nothing but telling her, I agree with your behavior, dog. Every time you do that. And I'm talking about the fucked up women. I'm not talking about the ones that's down for you. I'm talking about the fucked up ones. So, to me, I'm just trying to dig through the fluff and really find out what's what and what are we really doing. Because like I say, you got a group of guys that just want to argue and fight with these women just to, for sheer entertainment. And for a 2-time baby daddy, I'm like, dog, you got bigger issues, dog. You got to take care of these children. I mean, what the fuck? Why are you in my comment section? So that's where I'm coming from. I'm like, man, look, we can't become what we trying to change or what we talking about or the people that we trying to hold accountable. We can't become these people. If I'm making any sense. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of fuckery going on with the men. And those guys, to me, they need to look. Preem is blocked from my channel. The other guys blocked from my channel. I can't tell anybody else how to run their platforms. All I can do is run mine with at least a decent level of integrity. You see what I'm saying? The same way I'll kick a chick out, the same way I'll kick one of these guys out for bringing that kind of energy on my platform. You see what I'm saying? So, like I say, if guys just want to fight with these women for the entertainment purposes, cool. I won't allow it on mine. But I didn't get the wink, wink, nod, nod that this was about entertainment. Nobody emailed me, So I'm thinking this is brothers that actually cared about the community. Well, I'm not talking about y'all. Obviously, I'm not talking about the brain trust. But I'm just speaking this sector as a whole. You see what I'm saying? A lot of this shit just leave me befuddled. Like, yo, what are we doing now? And like I say, then you got these guys in this corner kind of find out it was all about the pussy. And that's just another conversation for another day. So like I say, dog, like what are we really doing here?
I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. And we've agreed with you since last year that something needs to be done in the Manosphere. There needs to be some quality control put in place, and I think we've tried to establish all of that with different versions of Manosphere and things of that nature. What the guidelines should be, what the mission statement should be, and a lot of people push back against that and said, no, we don't want mission statements, we don't want guidelines, we like it the way how it is, and don't you come in here telling us anything. So there's a lot of prison politics taking place on YouTube, man. There's a lot of prison politics going on, and they're trying to enforce that or push back against some of the ideals that we have. We want more intellectual discussion. We want more progressive dialogue. And what's happening here is there are people walking around with their spray paint, putting up SWAT stickers and things like that all over the place on your message boards and your comment sections. You know what I'm saying? Peeing in the corner, just all types of stuff, man. Guys are just bringing this sort of prison politics into the Manosphere, and it's unfortunate, man. Some dudes just need to get chin checked out here, but there's only so much that we can do. I mean, you ban the same people that we've banned, but yet they still create new screen names and come back around. It's like, man, why don't you just get lost, man? But then I start thinking that some of these guys, man, may have some mental health issues.
Yeah, I mean, look, perfect example. was Preem. Because a lot of people don't know why I went in on Preem.
Mm-hmm.
Because Preem did some fuckery and Preem lied. Preem lied. And I don't want to get into all the details.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Preem to chill. I said, chill, bro. Because you don't even want me to do this. And he kind of forced my hand. And Preem got caught up in a lie that he was telling, and I had to get him. And I said, look, man, I gave him fair warning, fall back off this. But like I say, the level of hypocrisy to me is very alarming, man. The hypocrisy is just too much. It's a head scratcher. It's a head scratcher. And to me, now y'all can help me out with this.
Okay.
In good faith, I'm speaking in good faith, how can a guy that created a single mother sit there and it's one thing to talk about him, but pretty much dog him out? And I'm like, dog, if this is not the definition of a hypocrite, I don't know what is.
Mm-hmm.
You created her. And I feel like as a man, you should even know better than her. Mm-hmm. If you want to be treated like one. That's just the school that I come from. So I don't know what's what anymore. Do we just drop our standards?
But this empathy we try to show towards women, we just don't have toward men. If the shoe was on the other foot, we just don't have that towards men. Not in the Black community, we don't.
Yeah, you're right about that, MOT, and we don't show empathy towards certain men. I do feel that certain men have been artificially silenced with the culture. The culture has been very poisonous towards upwardly mobile Black men. But I also think that there is some level of decorum that needs to take place with certain certain individuals when they come around certain sectors.
Sure.
Certain people would never come. The people that C Boogie has banned, Dom Game Division has banned, would never show up over here. We've dealt with those type of people in the past, in the beginning, and we have drew a line in the sand and said, no, that's not acceptable. Now, in regards to what do you do with them, I think a separate place needs to be created to have that sort of dialogue on that platform and not on our platforms. Right, there needs to be a third party platform created for them to engage, but there needs to be some level of moderation so that we have some clear communication as to what it is that they're seeing versus what everybody else is seeing. Because I've listened to certain individuals, man, on certain panels, and they're not very good at articulating their points. And they ramble, they say a lot of random things. Like C Boogie said before, he had to take down one of his live streams because the guy said some pretty community guideline violated statements that couldn't be held accountable. And you have no way of predicting what this person is going to say. So we need to actually establish some a third party place where these guys can go. They can conjugate, but there's also some level of moderation by some of the thinking Black men in the manosphere and say, okay, if this is what you're saying, let's translate it into something that's digestible for the greater audience, so that everybody understands what you're saying, and you don't come off as being labeled as quote unquote crazy.
Well, it's one thing to me, Mike. Like I say, holding people accountable, calling out the bullshit. Mm-hmm. I've never spoke against that. Got no problem with none of that. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the things that I got an issue with was only when I felt like dudes crossed certain lines to me that, to be honest, man, it's more than just Black people watching us. And as Black men, we already got a bad label. I'm gonna be honest, I'll take it as far as saying I don't even like when guys say, hey, you need to be a sleazeball to get women. I'm like, nah, no, you don't. You be a stand-up individual. You know what I'm saying? You can stand tall and just keep it 100. You don't need to be no sleazeball. As black men, we already got certain kind of labels on us already. You don't need to do that. You don't need to be a dickhead. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is be a stand-up guy, let the chips fall where they fall. I've always been on that kind of time. But like I say, you know, once it get to a certain level, I'm like, nah, man, you know, I got to call foul on the play. You know, like I say, if a female leave a comment, not even a bad comment, just left a comment, and just because it was a black woman, you know, he tell your dad. Don't even know who her father is. Her father could have been John Gotti or a mayor of the city. Could have been his dad. Could have been somebody. Just because she left a comment, and only because she was a black woman, tell your dad to suck my big fat black you know what. And I'm like, oh God. And then as I went down the comment thread, it got even worse than that. And then the girl was like, yo, what did I do to you? First of all, I was talking to C Boogie. So like I say, man, you know, you really got you know, it's some very unsavory characters floating around here that's really gonna mess this thing up for the guys that want to get out a legitimate message, and not just want to fuss and argue with the women all day. But, you know, like, even like MOT said, for guys to, you know, if they want to come and vent or even talk about certain things, yo, I ain't got no problem with that. Handle your business. But like I say, you know, I've drawn the line that suck my big fat black, you know what? I like, oh, I can't even take this, man. Like, this is enough, or you know, wishing death on somebody in my comment section. I just took the whole video down because I'm like, all right, okay, this video has evoked some emotions. And instead of bringing that energy to C Boogie, because I was the one that made the comment, instead of just saying my name, you know, my video wasn't even about this DJ Kid guy. They just took that time to say, oh, you know, these women are dead. And I'm like, look, man, you know, come on. I don't want that kind of energy around my platform, you know, to where as though as you kind of celebrating people's demise. I think that's too far. And, you know, I spoke about it in another video. Like, look, man, y'all got to get y'all mind right, man. You know, it's not just black men watching these videos. You know, it's all kind of people tuning into this stuff. And, you know, we can't be looking like hooligans out here. Because at the end of the day, as black men, we already got all kind of labels attached to us, you know, really just on the strength of us being black men. So, like I say, you know, I got no problem with guys getting their rocks off. I don't want anybody's silence. Even the guys I've publicly went back and forth with, I've never one time told guys not to support these dudes or not to, you know, financially support these guys. I don't roll like that. But I know for me, when I stop what I'm doing to address the men, I don't want to hear what the women are doing this. I'm like, nah, man, you know, we still got to keep a level of tact to where as though you ain't wishing death on somebody. If we don't draw the line, what's going to happen when the next Elliot Rodger come out of these ranks or something happen and they go through this guy's cell phone and kind of find out he was listening to a C Boogie video after he done did something crazy?
Let me touch on that real quick.
That's mainly white manosphere.
Oh, C Boogie, you're basically talking about quality control, aren't you? You're talking about
quality control.
Yeah, let me touch on that real quick. So for those who don't know, in 2009, there was a person on YouTube named Tony Smith, and you had another black female YouTuber named Asian McGowan. And this individual male was not really coherent and not mentally stable, and he was in the comment sections of everybody's videos, you know, in the first Manosphere. This person knew Asia McGowan locally, outside of YouTube, and he followed her into college, and he wanted her so badly. He made videos about it. He was not really coherent because he was not on his medication. He followed this girl to school, and he killed her, and he killed himself. And they traced back the comments that he was making on his social media to Sergeant Willie Pete, which is what got Sergeant Lee Pete kicked off of YouTube. This is serious business what C Boogie's talking about.
So, you know, once again,
mute up.
yeah, so once again, you know, sometimes, like I say, Mike, you know, once things go through the filter and it's sifted out and you got 3-4 people translating certain things, you know, around, and at the end of that, it comes off as, it might say, oh, well, C Boogie don't want to hold these women accountable. And if you go through any of my content, I've never once said that. My issue, you know, just to put it on record and timestamp it, my issue is with the guys that at the end of the day, it was all about pussy for them.
Where's Terry and
They went to Walmart.
Oh, okay. Hey, mute up, Complex. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like if I had a, you know, if I had a personal issue with any group of guys, it was the guys that. Oh, fuck. Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I just shared my screen real quick. I wanted to show people what Tony Powell looked like on YouTube. This is one of the videos he was ranting in about black women, and he was following Sergeant Willie Pete and other black male YouTubers, and you know, I mean, obviously he's not really stable in this video, but he went up to the school, followed this girl, man, and this pretty ass little black woman here, and he killed her.
So yeah, man, like I was saying, you know, like, and that's a sad case right there. But like I was saying, the only issue that I have personally, and I'm not gonna speak for anybody else, is the guys that we was riding for hard body, and at the end of the day, they didn't give a fuck about the community. They were self-serving, and they only cared about pussy. And a lot of guys bounce from those group of dudes like, well, you know, this ain't even about that. You know what I mean? We on a different kind of time. But like I say, I would never want anybody silenced. But, you know, at the end of the day, I gotta stand tall on, as men, as hard as it can be, you know, and as frustrating, you know, because I'm a black man too. I got children. I'm out here. I'm on the concrete. And it's not always good days. But, you know, I can't go through a McDonald's drive-thru and videotape the girl behind the counter because I think she ghetto. Because this is what some of these guys do. I'm like, look, I ain't got no time for that. You know what I'm saying? I got bigger issues in my life. I'll let other guys deal with that. You know what I mean? My thing is, I sweep my own porch first. You know, I hold the mirror to myself first. If I don't hold myself accountable, then who will? And to me, you know, it seems like we just got a fundamental just difference on, you know, what accountability even is. Like I say, you know, I'm gonna say this one more time. There are guys in the Manosphere that we know for a fact that's out here creating babies, not here to judge, not even taking care of, but yet they just want to scream and holler about, you know, single mothers. And to me, I'm like, dog, what the hell is this? Is this a sideshow right now? You know, I don't even know what this is anymore on some level. You know what I mean? And like I say, once you hold the mirror up, it's like, nah, man, you know, accountability is accountability. If you made a mess, if you spill something, like Denzel Washington said, that's $25,000 alpaca. You better blot that shit. Clean it up. Clean it up. You know, I clean up my messes. If I fuck up, I got no problem apologizing. If I fuck up, I'm going to handle my responsibility. And for a lot of these dudes, like I say, I'm not going to open up the file of things that we know that's going on behind the scenes. But a lot of these guys, man, you know, they fronting, you know, they got online, they created these characters that they play, you know, they faking the funk. And like I say, man, I've never got the wink, wink, nod, nod that this was about entertainment. I never got that memo, bro. So I even hear guys lately like, you know, what exactly is self-improvement? It's just like, all right, now we want to play dumb. I'm like, I got no time for the juvenile shit. I just got no time for it, man. Some of this shit is just low level, just clown behavior. And it's just like, yo, man, you know what? I'll take my talent. I'll take my message somewhere else to people that's going to appreciate it. Because at the end of the day, man, I really am about the upliftment of Black men. I tend to focus more on the mental health piece, more like the Black Brain Trust. Y'all focus on geopolitical, financial shit. I'm big on mental health. I'm an advocate. I seek it for myself. And you know, that's a big message that I like to permeate through the airwaves. Like, if you need help, I mean, really, if you really need help, don't be scared as a Black man to get professional help. I've made myself the guinea pig for that. I try to make it look cool as a Black man to get professional help. So, you know, look, what are we really doing here, though, man? You know, what are we really doing? Do we just want to argue and kick up dust, or what?
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, because Farrell had his hand up, but Nagone also was supposed to be a part of this discussion. So
All
I
right,
want to
go
make
ahead,
sure we go to Nagone first, and then we'll go to
Go
Farrell.
ahead, Nagone.
I want to get in too.
Yeah, you know, I would have to agree a lot of putting that mirror up. I talk with C Boogie a lot. We talk behind the scenes quite a bit. We do. You know, I talk to a lot of cats, man. I'm down with a lot of dudes. I'm down with the self-improvement piece. I definitely think that we should call a lot of crap out. We do. The Black Brain Trust is about calling out the bullshit as well. You know, I myself have kind of circled away from the woman piece a little bit because I think it's pretty clear to us what's going on with a lot of these women. It's pretty clear. So I think if we don't have our acts together, you're done. You're finished. That's where I'm really coming from. That's where I've always been coming from. You know, that's getting your mind right, money right, body right, all that. That has always been my mantra. I've always been about that. So, because I see that's how it works out here. C Boogie's a younger dude. He's going to talk a lot more about women, especially because he's a young guy, and mating and children and marriage and these kind of things, much more relevant to guys who were in their 30s than it is certainly with guys. I'm just talking about the woman piece now specifically than it is with guys who, mind you, I'm basically thinking about the mugger right now. I'm thinking about the money. I'm thinking about other things that are going to be very, very important to me. Down the line as I move down the line. Not that it's not important with younger guys, but you know, you hit different phases in your life. So the whole relationship thing is very important. We definitely have to really talk and get into that a great deal. But we also have to be focused, and we have to be focused on ourselves. And that's, I think, a common message that certainly I think C Boogie's talking about. If you want the woman you want, or you want to do something else, you know, there are all kind of things you're going to want out here. But you can't really get things right if you're not really right with yourself and true with yourself. And I totally abide by that message. Totally abide by it. We can disagree on one little point here, one little point here, but the big picture is how we dealing with ourselves. And you know, we can, and there's something that we talk about too. Black men homeless all over the place. More Black men are committing suicide. All these things going on with us. And, you know, I don't see really a lot of people focusing on that. A lot of people trying to tell you how to be a man and tell you how to be this. And look at the issues we're really dealing with. We really have to sit down and really get right with ourselves, work with ourselves to a large extent to get ourselves right. And I think that's the big piece. And let's be real about it. The quality control piece of guys running out here, just running them up, talking all kind of crap, guys saying they down with Black men, but cursing other Black men out and calling them bitch niggas and all this kind of craziness. All of this whack stuff we see going on. It's gotten way out of hand. So, you know, if we can reel this in and make some sense out of some of this, yeah, the entertainment piece is great. But, you know, what about that sector of this part of the tube where we want to talk about what's germane to us and how we help each other? You know, that's a part of this as well. And this is kind of what I think people like C-Boog and others are trying to address. Are we going to ruffle, or at times people's feathers going to get ruffled because somebody may say something that somebody else may like? Yes, it's part of the game. Sometimes you're not going to like what people have to say. You weren't born here on this earth to walk around and like it all the time. That's just how it is. So some people are going to lay it out. Some people are not going to like it. We'll all have to deal with it. But if we deal with it maturely, in a mature way, as grown men, we can deal with this thing the same way. And I think we can get a lot more out of it than some of the absolute madness and insanity that I've seen going down on this YouTube the last 8 or 9 months. This is, oh my God, this has been outrageous. But there's some sectors of this YouTube that I think is great. And this Black Brain Trust is something that I'm putting a lot of faith in as well. All right, guys.
All right, let me go to MOT and then we'll go to the hands up. MOT, you have anything you want to add in response to that?
No, I think it was Ty City and Complex who wanted to go.
Let's go to Farrell first. He had his hand up first, and then we'll go to Ty City.
Oh, okay, y'all can hear me just fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much, my whole purpose, the reason why I came into this space was because I was looking for answers into what was going on in the Black community, and which is why, you know, I started following BGS. And really kind of like BGS, it was more Tony Maceo and Max City Limits. They kind of did more of the Section 8 version of it, what was going on. But I needed a clear, like, you know, macro version of what was going on. And once I found out that, you know, they said that our culture was messed up and there was really nothing to do until you change the environment, that's when I got a deep perspective of things. And, you know, I just didn't like the narrative of how they was portraying Black men, especially me driving trucks. And I've been to city, state to state, and I know MOT is as well. I've just seen differently. And some of these, you know, these narratives that was put saying, oh, Black men are they're the worst fathers. They don't take care of their kids. I seen different, and even CDC told people different. I done seen, you know, heard the rhetoric, Black men having kids all the way, you know, from yay over here and over there. And I'm sitting over here looking at statistics and saying that 53% of Black men are childless. So it's just, you know, I was just this matriarchal, like, rhetoric that's been spewed, and I just came into the sector to try to find answer on how did we get here, and why was this message being spread like this. And so, and I know you got some hypocritical guys on YouTube. I pretty much just flushed them out, because a lot of them won't even dare, like you said, Mike, they won't even come over here. You done blocked them. They won't come to Edward Anderson. I know they done came to BGS, try to troll him numerous of times. BGS got a whole freaking track list of people on block. So, I mean, as you know, as back to what Nagon was saying, I think with Black men, this stuff that we going through has to be taken seriously. Get your mind right is definitely the big piece. I think Black men has pretty much, you know, have been, you know, we've been the most ones that's been suffering in this country. And nobody don't take us, they don't take it seriously. I mean, you got Black boys failing in school at an all-time rate. Nobody's taking them seriously. They pretty much getting them prepared for the prison system pipeline. And nobody ain't gonna care until they get arrested and the judge sentences them 25 to life. Then it's all free my nigga this. And like, come on, that's another productive who could have been a productive Black man. That's another body gone. That's another dead comrade. Mm-hmm. So we pretty much failed at that.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go.
That's pretty much my piece.
Let's go to Ty City. Got his hand up.
Hey, what's happening, bro? Man, I ain't even gonna front, man. I was trying to put a stop loss on Bitcoin real quick. It just made a crazy move.
Yeah, I saw. I know this went live.
C Boogie, man, I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying, tell you, man, I disagree with some things you were saying, bro. I think we should be able to discuss single mothers.
Okay, I didn't say you couldn't. That wasn't my premise of anything. I was what I was saying was, once again, you know, if you created a single mother, then at the same time, you got to take some accountability in that as well, because did you or did you not put your dick in her? I mean, I just want a yes or no.
No, listen.
I don't, I just
listen,
want a yes or no.
listen. I
Why
understand.
can't I get a yes or no?
Yeah, you accountable, but
Okay.
this is my thing. This is how accountable we are as black men. Even if we have a child with a strag, we still want custody of the child.
I mean, they make courts for that. But what I'm saying is, look at your statement, bro. You had a child with a strag. Now, I'm not here to judge. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not even here to say it's wrong. No.
What happened to
What
us?
just happened?
I think he accidentally dropped off.
So he made it. Okay. Yeah, he made it. He may have actually. His connection may have cut.
Yeah, I wanted him to kind of clarify on that, because I'm trying to figure out who was that so hypocritical to sit over here and talk about single mothers, and they created one. I know you're not talking about the thinking black man.
Oh no, I know who he's talking about. It's not necessary to mention his name, but he does frequent.
No. And what I'm saying is, I know that happens, but that's not the majority of
Just
cases.
not the majority. That I was saying, I think that too, Star City. It's not the majority. You probably just speaking of that one dude or that plethora of the dudes. But my thing is, those dudes are irrelevant. They're like a speckle in the air that you can just flick away. Like,
All right, he's back.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, man.
There you go.
My connection got lost. But like I was saying, now, objectively speaking, I'm like this, and I'm always take this position. Whatever mess I created, I got to clean it up. As a man, and as a man, I know better. As a man, I should know better. And if I don't know, I should know where to get the answers at. So, I'm not saying guys shouldn't have the place to vent. I'm not saying that. But I find it kind of odd that, a lot of these conversations are just very one-sided. And I'm like, well, where are the guys that even just raise their hand and say, you know what, I fucked up? I don't even hear that. All I hear is bitch, thot. And I'm like, well, did she put a gun to your head to make you put your dick in it? I mean, if she did, let me know. We take this bitch to court for rape. I seriously doubt if that happened. So, my thing is always, it starts with me. It starts with Boogie. I got to make better decisions. And if we talking about real masculinity, well, real masculinity, what I learned as I got older, is that it polices itself. It has its own set of quality control. Real masculinity. So these kind of conversations about having a baby with a strag after a certain age, that does not happen, because real masculinity polices itself. And I've learned that just getting older in life. And like I say, when I hear guys in their 40s and 50s, just bypass any kind of accountability, I'm like, okay, well, obviously those aren't my kind of guys I want to be around. And, I know a lot of this is because of my military background, and that's how I was brought up. When my soldiers messed up, it was on me. I wasn't even there. But as a leader, with those stripes on my shoulder, dog, I had to bear that burden. So, like I say, at the end of the day, I'm just saying, if you spill some wine on that carpet, you got to block that. So I don't know. Maybe I just see things just a tad bit different. But if we can't agree on accountability, or what part that you played in this, as a man, I'm just like, I'm kind of lost in the sauce, man. I'm not here to judge, and I don't want nobody to feel like I'm judging anybody. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm only speaking about just the hypocrisy, because in good faith. So in good faith, if you said you made a mistake, right? let's just say you said you made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? You were young and dumb. You put your dick in that woman. Okay, cool. I was young and dumb too. I did so much stupid shit. It's ridiculous. But what if that woman said she was young and dumb? What if she said she was young and dumb? What if she said the same thing you said? You know what? I was young and dumb. I did something stupid. Well, she's the succubus now. You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, damn, man. Like, where are we at this thing? You know, who knows better? I mean, which one of these people know better? Which one of these people should know better? Somebody help me out. Where do we start a system of, you know what? I know better. Do we start with the elders? Do we start with the youngest? Do we start with the men? Do we start with the women? Is everybody equal? I don't know.
Okay, so
I just want to say something really quick, Ty City. I just want to say something just very quickly. I'm out. The succubus is not just a single mother. So,
I'm not saying that either. But what I'm saying is the nucleus of 98% of these problems, right, are due to, like I said, the accountability thing. I get what you're saying. Most men want to be accountable. Most men do. They like, man, I messed up. As soon as they find out that the bitch pregnant, they'll say, damn, I fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But that's how the dice roll, and you try to make it right from there. The issue comes when other people decide I'm gonna take the next generation under my wing, and whatever happens, I get to blame the other person.
Well, I know one thing. The CDC came up with a study. Charles Blow and them wrote an article about it in the New York Times. It said that Black fathers were of the most attentive to their children. So that was a study done by the CDC, and it was reported in the New York Times by a brother by the name of Charles Blow, who actually wrote the article and put it out there to, if there was any positive parts of media of which we get very little of. That did come out, and it did say that Black men were of the most, out of all ethnic groups, the most attentive to their children. So men who are having single children and are doing that tend to be very attentive to their kids. So men are taking control of some of that. So I'm going to have to say that that there is some good evidence on the side of brothers against the narrative, because this was actually a report against the narrative. What I'm saying, that was being pushed. Oh, I just want to finish this up. That was about Black men. So we are attentive. All right. So we are in many respects taking responsibility for it. So powerful was this evidence that you had many succubae in the that infiltrated the Manosphere, saying that they didn't even want to believe the figures. They were still trying to turn that around. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to just lay that out there and put that out there, because that is something that we can speak positively to on behalf of us. I happen to know C Boogie. I know he's taking care of his kids, and he and I had some very intense conversations about this. And so I know what kind of dad he is and kind of the kind of game he's playing. And most of us are doing that. And it's not easy. So I know we do have a difficult time with some of this. But what we primarily did, now I really want to just put this out here so we get this thing straight. We primarily in the Manosphere came out here to correct in so many respects a narrative that was being placed against us.
And that's what I'm saying. It's so much of a narrative.
This is how this thing, I just want to say, this is how this thing came about. The narrative was what we wanted to counter. We said we were 50% of this problem. The other 50% of the problem, has not wanted to take certain levels of responsibility. You had people that wanted to cover some of that up. And what we wanted to do was elucidate on some of this and tell our story. And I wanted to just kind of set the record straight there a little bit. And all the different debates that we have right now that we're going and dealing with this, I think are good. I think are actually good. And we're all not going to agree on everything. But I think we need to have this debate. I think this needs to be done over with thinking Black men talking about, taking responsibility for our actions. And, I don't have any problem with this conversation, but I just wanted to keep the record straight here a little bit. I wanted to lay that out there. Go ahead, guys.
Like I said, like when it comes to accountability and the single motherhood thing, like we know what will happen if these women drop their children out to the fathers. Like none of them are gonna not take their children, like, and they want to be involved in their children's lives. It's almost to the point that we know, but it's like we still have this thing where it's like, no, it's 50-50 accountability. You got to hold yourself accountable for how that child turned out as well. It's like, that's not what's going on out here. That's not what's going on out here. And we all know it. We all know it.
Let me know when I can get in on this, Mike.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm just listening a little bit here. It's always been my position with all this is that, with the 3.0 mandate, that's not just like a label or a term or just like a tag, a hashtag or something that was born out of the brain trust. It's a concept. It's a social media philosophy, right, as it relates to Black men. And it's very specific, it's very detailed about what this space is supposed to be and what we're supposed to utilize it for. So I want to state first and foremost, I think there's been a clear delineation made with regards to what future expectations of our engagements in social media, what that consists of. By virtue of strict adherence of the 3.0 mandate, that ensures that the narrative begins to change in terms of our image. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, at the end of the day, accountability, all accountability is going to start with the individual, right? So, I think largely these discussions where it's like, okay, well, the men are doing this, but the women are doing this. And then the women kind of maintain their position and then say, but the men, you guys aren't doing this. And see, none of that's going, no, it's not going anywhere. I display a supreme indifference to every last bit of it because I know the personal life that I maintain has no participation in none of it. And I have my own self-interests that drive what it is that I do, the way that I think, and the activities that I engage in. And I really think that has to be something that's paramount to everybody at this point. Like, I'm not going to heap criticisms on women at this point. I think, things are self-evident if you're really observant. And my chiming in on anything isn't going to change anything, right? Because accountability starts with self. So everybody has to be accountable. Everybody. So men are accountable for what C. Boogie was saying in terms of their engagements with women and the decisions that they make in terms of who they're having sex with, protected or otherwise, and the ramifications of such. Okay. On the flip side, women are wholly responsible for who they let enter them. Okay. And the one thing that I'm pretty much above and beyond at this point is having the discussion of a woman's nature as it being the reason or the cause célèbre as to why they do some of the shit that they do. Let me tell you something. Everybody's got a nature. The difference is this. As a man, does my nature absolve me? Does it absolve me if I fuck up in society? Can somebody say, oh, well, he's a man. So, come on.
Yeah,
man, you're not responsible.
Good point, Complex.
Hello?
No, I was just gonna say that we got Black Ram on the panel as well now, and Xanatos Clutch as well. So welcome to the panel. Yeah, I agree with Complex.
Heavy hitters are here.
We got. Yeah, I mean everybody's got a nature, man, including Naughty by nature. Go ahead, Ty City.
I just wanted to say this though, like when I step on panels, it's not about dating or all the rest of this stuff, bro. I'm stepping on as a father because I know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And when I see people making these narratives like, oh, the child was born out of wedlock, and it's like two people who didn't have no business being with each other in the first place, not getting married is not the problem. You know what I'm saying? That it's not it. It's a lot of these. It's a lot of this. It's a lot of this stuff going on that we know isn't true, and we still have to argue about it. We still have to, you know what I'm saying? When it's like real life examples all around us.
Yeah, I think they look at marriage as a morality from the morality standpoint, and not from the pragmatism standpoint.
Yes.
But it's a proven failure.
Yeah, it is a proven failure, but they're still looking through their moral lens and not their pragmatic lens. And marriage, for all intents and purposes, outside of the Black community, is the merger of two economies. The two families come together and they bring their economies into one. That stuff has to be approved, man. Most of my guys in IT, and I've said this many times before. What's going on with Xanatol's clutch, man? Most of my guys that are married in the IT sector, man, they're married to non-Black women, but those women also come from good stock too, and so do those brothers. So they're inheriting property from their grandparents. She's inheriting property from their grandparents as well. You're talking $1 to $2 million in assets sitting on the table. That's not something you play games with. In the Black community, we play games. People play games, and that's the sort of aspect that doesn't get discussed, man. We play marriage like it's some kind of Android game or something, man.
Definitely correct, Mike.
So let me jump in here real quick.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, because we're having like a lot of different conversations. You know, not kind of, you know, like with my point specifically, I just want to remain, you know, real poignant with what I gotta say. Yo, can somebody mute up, please?
Yeah, everybody, please mute up if you're not talking.
So, but yeah, like my position alone was just a couple things. Well, really two things. You know, like the situations that I called out in my comment section, and you know, a couple things that I actually thought was just, you know, beneath us as Black men. The kind of language and, you know, the things that was being said, I was like, oh man, that's kind of crossing the line. And, you know, the blatant hypocrisy. You know, and that's, you know, look, if a man want to lie his ass off, that's on him. He can lie till his lips fall off. But, you know, me personally, I just don't come from that stock of standing next to a hypocrite. You know, that's just something that I just can't roll with. And, you know, because I know we having a lot of different conversations about this, that, you know, look, I'm not here to judge a goddamn soul. I'm in no position to judge. I'm in a position to say, well, what are we doing here? I mean, honestly, you know, because there's these characters around here that just want to, you know, pick fights and do this and do that. You know, so I'm just looking at it like, look, man, you know, those are the guys that's going to mess it up for the dudes with legitimate issues, with legitimate gripes, with legitimate concerns. And, you know, me personally, I got no problem with highlighting these dudes, calling them out and like, nah, man, you know, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? You know, nothing in this world should warrant a female leaving just a general comment in my comment section, and only because she's a Black woman, you tell her to tell your dad, which is a Black man, tell your dad to suck my big fat Black, you know what, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, with all the other things that was going on that I had to call out, and lately, you know, a few videos I just took down. I just took them down. I don't even want the drama. I don't want that kind of energy. I took it upon myself to take certain videos down. You know what I mean? And I see how some messages of mine even get, you know, hijacked. You know what I'm saying? They just get hijacked and shit. And I'm like, all right, well, y'all can have it, you know, do what you want with it, but that's not even what the hell I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? you know. And let me just speak on this while I got the floor. Even with the self-improvement piece, I was only talking to a specific group of guys that didn't like the lane of women that they were in. Well, I'm like, well, shit, man, you know, probably could lose some weight, or you probably could do this, or might want to try this. You know, it wasn't, you know, just a blanket statement just saying, oh, everybody need to do this. Nobody got to do a goddamn thing. We are grown men. We ain't got to do nothing. Especially because I said it. I don't know why guys get ruffled up on these certain comments. I'm like, look, man, you know, do what you want. I was just putting it out there, you know, and because there is a specific group of men that said this was about pussy. This is documented. I can tell you what live stream it was on, man. He said this was about pussy. And that's when I fell back, like, oh man, you know, I'm not in it for this, man. You know what I'm saying? I thought we either cared about the community or we don't. You know, a lot of times, man, you know, we talk about other races of men, other cultures of men. You know, look, man, show me the other race of men that's kind of talking like this. That's kind of wishing death. You know what I mean? Besides these crazy incel kind of guys, man. I'm like, look, man, you know, to me, at least on my platform, I said, look, I'll take it upon myself to be a leader, and I'll set the tone. I'm not condoning that kind of behavior, you know, especially when it's not warranted. You know, I don't let women act up on my platform, and I damn sure won't let men act up on my platform. And, you know, I just keep it at that. You know, all the rest of the stuff, you know, that's, you know, everybody. I want everybody to get their fucking voice heard. I ain't trying to silence nobody. But look, man, don't let the boogeyman catch you in these female inboxes. You know, don't let me catch you in that. Don't let me catch you, you know, behind the scenes, sneaking around with these same fucked up hoes that you talk about. Because this is very prevalent. You don't know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not going to open up no files or nothing like that. That's not my job. But when I say hypocritical behavior, I really mean it. It goes so deep that I'm just done. I've washed my hands with a lot of this. I say, you know what? At the end of the day, this is 98% of this shit is about pussy. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line. You know, so it's a lot of fuckery going on. And like I said, it's a little bit too much. So I just took it upon myself. Like, you know what? I'll monitor my channel. I'll monitor my chat rooms. And I think that a podcast the other day was about, you know, Jay Sean seeing some of the same things on a panel that he was on. And that's where we was at. We was just talking about the men. Like, look, right now, we're going to talk about the men. I don't want to hear nothing about women right now. You know, we deal with that later. Right now, we got a fundamental issue with the men and, you know, behavior that's just making black men look crazy out here. It just makes us look crazy to me. So that's why I'm at.
I mean, but
Somebody
you have
take the
to,
mic.
but see, Boogie, but you have to understand that this behavior is encouraged through not feeding these men properly. And that's the part that everybody forgets and leaves out. Like, this doesn't
Exactly.
happen in other cultures because there's a proper introduction. We know damn well these women are held to no account in this country. This is why we keep bringing up the women. So you just can't say dudes are incels for a reason. They was raised in fucked up ass environments based off the decision that she made, and a man that 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 she didn't vet. That this dude had to be there for 17 years. Now he's raised by the internet. Now he comes out here. He hears that you talk about self-improvement. You know these ain't no self-improved ass niggas that she's fucking with in the first place. That's why this shit angers people, man, when you say that. I mean, that's the reason. That's the reason. And for me personally, I don't go through this shit. It's very easy. I just like, look, as soon as I seen 13-year-old girls when I was growing up being pounded out by 40 years old, I said, there's no touching none of these motherfuckers under no circumstances, period. And it didn't get any better as a generation. Man, what's going on with the sound, man?
That's Farrell.
Yeah. So 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 this is back to the not having empathy for men piece of it. Like, people who are raised in well cultured societies, they don't have these issues at all. But these people are having these specific issues for a very specific reason. And it's encouraged by men. It's encouraged to be screwed over other men by men. So when you say we don't want to talk about the women right now, like, dude, how you think these dudes got here? They got here by decisions made by her, environments that are cultured by her, and she ran to the government and got the check. Like, so we have to engage both sides of the issue, because when we just want to talk about men and their behavior, okay, let's say everybody started batting 1,000. You still got these people on the other end who are making the same decisions every day, right? And so that's why I say there's no way we cannot talk about them women, period.
Well, let me kind of respond to that since you made it to me, really quick. So, the way I see it is this. Even if these women behaved in a way that you wanted them to behave, it's still going to be a group of guys online, because every man not going to make the final cut. If you're just talking about,
point to another culture. Point to another culture.
You point to another culture. What culture
Dude,
every man get a young? Hold on. What culture does every man get a nice, young, beautiful bride? Give me one.
See, Boogie, we're not talking about. See, Boogie, here we go again with the women shit.
That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about, MOT.
See, Boogie. Okay. Let me talk about what I'm talking about, because you're trying to divert the conversation towards.
No, I'm not. Maybe I heard you wrong.
No, you didn't. You just did it again. Okay, so if you're talking about a nice, beautiful young woman, what comes with that? If you're not talking about pussy, see, Boogie.
You tell me. What are we? Maybe we having two different conversations, dude. Tell me what you're talking about. Tell me what you're talking about.
This is what I'm saying. These dudes in this culture are trying to get access to women who are not women. These women have so much experience of the worst type. These dudes are supposed to be incels. They're supposed to not want to be dealing with these type of women in these type of circumstances with these type of experiences. But it's so many of them around, and the degree of them is so damn high, we keep forgetting about that shit. Just to make some other point. In other cultures, the men have actually stood together and held this shit under control. The Arabs is one of them. If you're a productive guy, you get what the fuck you need. In this culture, if you're a productive man, somehow you get mocked and ridiculed and all kind of other shit. So we can't have a conversation about what actually men go through without putting the whole thing in perspective versus what other cultures go through. Men only say this shit and hide the stuff from women because they benefit from the fucking actions. Period. I've never seen a man. Oh, go ahead.
Let me make my point very clear.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is simply this, because you brought up, before I talk, you brought up something about incels, which I didn't.
Shouldn't be calling people incels for no reason. Shouldn't be doing that.
I don't call people incels for no reason.
But you brought up the word. Come on, man. We're in the same conversation.
MOT, you brought up incels first. I was talking about self-improvement. So anyway, like I said, yo, dude, do we need to talk behind the scenes, MOT, man? Like on the real, man.
We do. We do.
Dude, okay, because I think we do. But as for right now, like I was saying, in any situation, point to me the culture where every guy gets a young hot bride. So what I'm saying is this. Nature create incels. I'm not getting into all these conversations.
They grew up in.
No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Hold on.
Pharaoh, you need to mute yourself.
What y'all not gonna do is jump on me.
This is between C Boogie and MOT.
So like
I'll get next.
Nature create incels. End of story. Incels been here since the beginning of time. They just didn't have a voice. They always been around. Go back to the days of Genghis Khan. go back to those days. They always been around. It's always been savage like that. You can't point out to me the culture that every guy, productive or whatever, has a young hot bride on his arm. That it does not exist. So like I was saying, the only thing that I was saying was either way, even if these women behaved in a manner that you deemed acceptable, it was still going to be a group of guys online because they couldn't get whatever. That's simply all I'm saying. You know,
and
it's
I'm
not.
simply saying that you are 100% wrong when you say that. And
How am I
you
wrong?
are immediate. Yes, I'll tell you why. In every single culture, men are not treated the way men are treated in this culture right here. Like, this is a very specific problem with a very specific group of men that have a very specific experience. So you just can't, because I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to push the actual idea of the dominance theory and the animal nature, and you're trying to retrofit that to human-based behavior. You're making it look like everything would be fine if the incels just shut up and not have a voice. No, these people are talking about things that they actually see. They're actually seeing things that they're responding to. So when you say what you just said, and before you said that, you said that the self-improvement piece, I mean, you just blew apart your whole argument by you admitting that sometimes there's dudes who don't get, like, dude, it's not about getting a nice, beautiful woman. It's about the crop of women that are left here for dudes to pick over. And you act like everything is perfect, and if dudes don't complain at all, then everything is fine. But you have to understand, man, that you are actually castigating the same amount of men that make them respond in the way that they respond.
Well,
It's not just how they grew up. It's not how they grew up. It's how when they listen to people like the statement that you just said. You just invalidated their whole life experience. There are good-looking guys who don't get no ass who still get treated like shit. I mean, did the system not work in their case? I mean, so what I'm saying is we shouldn't be calling people incels and shit. Because here's the deal. There is no medical professional who says that issuing somebody a piece of pussy is going to solve any of their problems. That's why I don't like people being called incels. Because the actual ideas and the things that they grew up in, the context that they grew up in, you know, to be a slave and also worship women, and then they realize that shit doesn't work once they get out of that context and they have to deal with the entire world. That experience is not accounted for, and it's not being studied by science. So once they start hearing people say, well, you know what, everybody don't get the cut and everybody don't do this. Well, guess what? Everybody don't get raised in specific level of circumstances. But you're making it seem like no matter what happens, we're going to have this ideological constant of an incel no matter what. And that's not the case.
So how do you explain all the white guys on YouTube pretty much giving the white version of everything the black guys are saying? If everything is hunky-dory in other cultures.
Dude, it's still Western United States culture. We're both living under the same level of feminism. Our feminism is quite worse. That's why it's the same here. You don't see this stuff in other cultures. You don't. That's why it's the same here.
Okay, and simply put, you're not going to see it in other cultures, because why? Because the men control the food and the water.
So you validate my point.
They control the resources. So, like I say, everything is not equal. If you want to compare, I don't even know how we got deep into this, but if you want to compare the black community to any other culture, you know, and I've seen how other cultures ran. You know, I did a bit of traveling myself. When the men control the food and the water, what they say go. That's the fundamental problem if you're talking about controlling behavior of women. Now, if it make you feel better, you can do 30, 50, 3,000 YouTube videos. That's not going to change a goddamn thing until we control the food and the water, i.e. the resources. That's when shit usually change. And if you want to talk about other cultures, if you want to speak on the Arab culture specifically, we know
So
they
you
put
admit
foot to
that
ass.
wait. So you admit that there's a difference. Before we go on, you admit that
There is
there's
a
a
difference.
difference. Okay, thank you. Because
There
at the
is a
beginning you
difference.
said there was not a difference. So now there is a difference. Okay, go ahead.
So, like I said, if you wanna compare black folk to other cultures,
you have to.
Everything goes on the table at that point. Everything goes on the table. If you want to do that, you can go there. But like I say, you want to talk about Arab culture, look at the extremes that they go to. The extremes. You want to talk about Hispanic cultures? Oh man, they put a lot of foot to ass down there. You want to talk about Asian culture? It's a fucking communist society. Do we even have to dive into that? So, like I say, dog, that's not a fair exchange if you're going to compare us to them. They got to go to the extreme cases to even put a fucking handle on female nature. You see what I'm saying? So to me, that's why I tend not to compare black folk, African Americans to other races, because it's a lot of savagery going on in those other races.
And they put an end to it by holding her to the nth degree for every single choice that she makes, just like she's a man. That's how they solved it. We have not solved it in black culture because we think because they're women, we get to lie, cheat, steal, cajole, and lie for women so that way they can act the way they want to act so we can fuck them. Everybody's trying to fuck the problem.
Who's saying this?
No. This is the way the culture operates.
Who? No.
Boogie, this is the way the culture operates.
So
this is the way the culture operates.
Okay,
Boogie, you don't know that this is the way black culture operates?
What I'm saying is, who's saying it? Is it anybody on YouTube, or you just speaking on the culture?
See, Boogie, that is the way black culture operates.
Is it anybody on YouTube?
See, Boogie, I'm not even finished my statement yet. Allow me to finish my statement. My statement is the following. We don't hold black women to any type of account in this country so everybody can fuck with the problem. If this woman was held to any level of account, everybody who celebrates their status that they ain't even supposed to have, it wouldn't even be there if it was based on productivity. The people who like shit the way they are happy to be non-productive and fuck with this type of woman. And they would do anything on the planet to hide, to cheat, to steal, to save female nature, to do everything possible but hold this woman accountable. They would even skip over women's accountability to hold men even more accountable for her actions.
I wholeheartedly disagree, because there's this misconception that the street guy is getting, I guess, more cooperation from women than the educated corporate guy. I wholeheartedly disagree. On that. And I've said this over a year and a half ago.
No, but that's not my argument. That's not my argument.
You're talking about productivity, right? You're talking about productivity, right?
No, I'm talking about I am specifically talking about not being held to account for the outcomes of their actions, whoever they deal with.
I'm talking about productivity. Now, back to my statement. Since you made it, there's this narrative out here that I've always disagreed with. I got a track record. I said, no. The guys that are getting the most action are the white collar, college educated, maybe fraternity guys that are out here making bankroll.
Who cares about that?
If we're talking about productivity, because you brought it up.
But we're talking about actions that are not being held to account for. Like, you do understand that this type of woman who you talk about, who have this type of accountability, is the same woman that you're caping for? You are doing that, right? You are.
I'm caping. By saying that the educated black man is getting the most action. I'm caping? What are you talking about?
Okay. Let me go over my statement. The reason why she's able to do all of this is because she's not ever held to any type of account for her actions, period, no matter who she does it with.
So let me ask you a question.
Right?
How do you hold women accountable?
How do I hold women accountable personally?
No. I want a poignant answer. Yes.
How do I hold women accountable?
As a group, how do you suggest we hold them accountable? As a group, go.
Black women in this country, here's the deal. If you're not going to behave properly, I suggest you stop messing with them, period. I suggest you deal with culture. I suggest you deal with culture people.
I agree.
And here's another thing I suggest. If she have a kid, if she start opening her mouth, we got to go figure out where this community is at. Because here's the deal. We're not saving nobody. You're here because of your actions. And you're not getting no help from like if I had my way, personally, if I had my way, see Boogie. If this woman has a kid, she's off limits. We're going to go find this guy and they're going to get married. And he's going to take care of these responsibilities. She's not going to be here on YouTube trying to get sympathy out of men. No, she's not going to get no fresh slate of guys because our culture's messed up. That's how I would fix it.
Can I add to that?
Hold on. Let MOT finish.
No, I'm finished with that specific point. I
mean, because I want to iron this out. Real quick. So, believe it or not, dog, I agree. I've always said you're not going to get nowhere if guys are still fucking these fucked up women. That's not going to work. And I've just said this earlier. Every time, you put your penis in a female that's not worthy and that's not on your program, you're doing nothing but telling her, I agree with your behavior. So that's one thing I agree with. But what I'm saying is, as a group, the only way you're going to get women to change as a group is when you control the food and water.
No. I require stuff out of them before I control everything on the planet. I'm not giving them everything on the planet before they act right. You're going to have to come with act right through the door or you ain't going to be being messed with, period. And then
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, that's just not what I'm saying. I think what you're saying is more, I would actually put what you're saying more on a personal kind of level, like, this is what I require. Every man on this panel have his own requires of behavior. And, I'm pretty sure everybody do a good job. But what I'm saying, if you want changes in your community, then at the end of the day, that's the only thing that's going to matter. You can pump out as much content in this atmosphere as you want to. That shit is like trap music to these women. Unless you control the food and water. So as long as women, basically what I'm saying is this, as long as women got an opportunity to make their own money, as long as they got that opportunity, then, at the end of the day, they're going to do what the fuck they want.
See, Boogie, I'm not pushing that narrative out of my mouth for a reason because I don't benefit off that activity. And I wouldn't care if I would not care if they did whatever they want. If they did whatever they want, then there is no community. That's what I'm saying. A community is, but see, here's the deal. There's community when you have two groups of people who work together. Right now, we just have scavengers type stuff where one side says these women ain't gonna change, and you just brought in the coefficient that until you control the food and water, the women ain't gonna behave right. Dude, there's a lot of other cultures in the United States other than black and white, and they got their stuff under control with all the things that we have access to. That's what I'm saying. Men's action all together. It should never come out of anybody's mouth that these women gonna do what they want to do. It should never come out of anybody's mouth. What we should be able to do as men is just stand lockstep together and be like, look, not only are we not messing with her, anybody who touches her, the brakes get beat, period. This person is not one of ours. Now, in other cultures, they don't have a problem with men standing together like that. But in this culture, since there's an over-proliferation of bitch-ass niggas in this culture right here, lie, cheating, and stealing, and doing all types of ridiculous stuff is kind of like the modus operandi of how black men operate. See, you can't have a off-code woman unless you have an army of off-code men to assist that activity. So it just isn't one side. And and when you say she's just gonna do whatever she wants, what side of the coin that you think you are leaning towards when you say that? It ain't toward principal men who want to stick together.
No, man. Look. I'm speaking reality, man. I'm just speaking reality. I mean, I'm not living in the delusional world of what I wanted to be. I'm telling you what I see on the concrete. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm doing.
Okay.
It's not the fact that, hold on.
How did I individually change it for myself? How did I individually change it for myself, but you see it the reality? How did that happen?
Like I said, as a group, not what you do on an individual basis. I do things on an individual basis that I do. I got safeguards in place. I'm talking about as a group. As long as these women got an opportunity to go somewhere else, to get hired, to make their own money, they don't really give a fuck what you say. And that's just the truth. Now, you keep talking about other cultures. You know, yes. At the end of the day, man, other cultures, you know, the men run the show from top to bottom. Can we not even agree on that? I mean, I don't. Am I bugging? Am I bugging?
See, Boogie, there is not a single man in another culture who's made the statement that you just said. This specific statement. As long as a woman do X, Y, Z, she gonna do it. I'm gonna go over it. There's not a single man in another culture that works. Have any man that ever says, "Well, these women just gonna do what they want to do as long as they get a job." Dude, you'll get the purge. They would never have another man speak that out of their mouth.
No, I would not get the purge.
They would never have.
I won't get the purge for speaking the truth. I'm just speaking what's going on the concrete, man. I'm speaking on what's actually going on. You're speaking on some delusional world you created in your mind that you think it should be ran like this. Okay, but it's not. This is how it's being ran. These women are getting their own money. They're doing whatever they're doing. And what are they saying? Fuck a man. That's what they're saying.
And I say we should step off. See, Boogie. Now, I'm glad you said that because a minute ago, you wanted men to be on code. You see what I mean? When I said I don't give a shit about what they think, you just said they're not going to change. But you have feelings for a woman when somebody told her, yes, absolutely.
Words in my mouth, nigga.
No. That is not words in your mouth.
Don't ever do that. Don't put shit in my mouth. You've been doing it the whole time, man.
I haven't been doing it. I'm using your own words against you. I'm using your own words against you,
doing it the whole fucking time, man.
Yeah, I'm using your own words against you. I pay attention to what you're saying, and I bring you back up. The moment you start capitulating, I bring up what you said 5 minutes ago to see how much sense it makes in context.
Nigga, you live in this fucking delusional world, nigga. That's why the fuck you live in a delusional world.
See, Boogie, I don't give a fuck about what these bitches think. I don't help these bitches. I don't fucking do that. You do that. You provide the actual avenue for that.
I don't do shit, nigga. I'm telling you what's going on, and you telling me about some fucking delusional world you created. It don't exist, nigga. Wake the fuck up.
See, Boogie, I don't go through this stuff in my household. I solved it in my household. If we had more principled men like me, we wouldn't be here. You give up. You gave up. You gave in.
Give up on what? Give up on what?
You gave up on holding these people responsible. You know you have.
MOT. What the fuck do you want me to do? Do you want me to make a video? Do you want me to make a fucking video every day?
Do not protect these people. No, I want you to not protect them at all, ever. Don't protect them.
I don't protect fucked up women. I don't protect fucked up women. You can't point in my past where I protected a fucked up female. But you know what I'm gonna tell you? An exceptional female, I will protect. It's that simple with me.
When you say women are going to do whatever they want to, are we talking about?
Say that one more time.
Okay.
He's cutting out.
Okay. When we're talking about women not being held to any account and they're going to do whatever they want to do, are we talking about principled women or are we talking about unprincipled women?
I'm speaking on, here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. As long as women got the opportunity where they don't need a man, they can go make their own money. You know what that means? They got their own choices to do whatever. It does not matter. That's the reality. I can make a video every day, MOT, 3 times a day, talking about these women. Is it really going to make a difference on the concrete? Is it really going to make a difference in real life? No. You know how you really get it done? You get it done by controlling the food and water.
No,
I've
done that personally. I've done that personally for myself. And so this delusional world you think I live in, that's the world I actually live in. I actually don't go through this stuff under my roof.
I don't go through it. I don't go through it, man.
Yeah, but what you're saying, I mean, you know, you're saying 2 different points at the same time. You're saying that you want to be a community with these people, and then on the other hand, you're saying that these people are going to be able to act however they want to.
See, there you go, putting words in my mouth.
Okay,
when did I say I wanted to be in the did I say that? I want a yes or no, because this is the problem I have with you.
Did you not talk about a community? Did you not talk about a community earlier where men and women are supposed to operate functionally?
You said that.
Did you not bring that?
You said that. Yo, MOT, we can play this back, man. You said that.
See, Boogie. Okay. So hold on a second. All right. So when we're talking about a functional place where men and women are supposed to operate on a playing field that's supposed to create this mythical community, how are we supposed to do that if we're just allowing this woman to act any type of way she wants to because she makes money? I keep coming back to the point you're making for a very specific reason. Because I just want to be sure that we're never going to have a community with this type of person along who decides that they're never going to be able to act in any type of accordance because she makes her own money. That's the only point that I'm making here.
I'm saying
we can't have.
Let me apologize for raising my voice.
See, Boogie, man, we're
I apologize.
Cool.
You my guy. You my guy.
Come on, man. We're cool, man.
I got a little heated. I'm better than that.
We keep it clean, though. We keep it clean. It's all love.
Yeah, I'm better than that, man. But like I'm saying, I'm just speaking of the option that these women have. You know, I'm not saying that all these women are going to choose to do the wrong thing, because obviously there's some decent women out there. What I'm saying is they got the option. So the difference, like we can go move on from here, but the difference between our culture and, you know, if you want to bring up any other culture around the world, the men can cut off the spigot. The only thing we really got at our disposal is keep your dick in your pants. We don't control the spigot. That's as best as I can give you, dog. Just don't touch them. And let me tell you something, dog. I don't fuck with scandalous hoes. As far as, you know, out of pocket and just doing what they want. And I mean, dog, I was married at one point. I mean, try to do the right thing. It didn't work, but I don't fuck with fucked up women. And I would tell any guy don't do that. You know, and I would stand heavy on that message, man. You shouldn't be fucking with a bitch that's not on your program. I think that's asinine. But, you know, we know what happens anyway. For just, you know, so many different layers of reasons why that does happen. But what I'm saying is, you know, as black men, can we honestly say we control the spigot? The only thing we control is our dicks. Keep it in your pants. That's what I would say. Keep it in your pants. That way you ain't got to worry about certain problems. You know what I mean? It starts there. Keep it in your pants. If you don't like what comes with that, if you don't like, you know, everything that comes with that, because you know there's consequences to that, keep it in your pants.
So you're saying you're advocating for abstinence?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, against the fucked up.
Yeah.
Against the fucked up. Yeah.
Bad choices.
Yeah.
So we
you know
do
what I'm
agree.
saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I
There
think we agree on that. You know what I mean? I don't,
cool.
you know, yeah, that's my thing. So once again, I apologize. You my guy. You know
No, we're good, man.
You my guy.
We're good. We're good. Don't worry about it. We're good, man.
Let's get Farrell, and he's been waiting for 20 minutes, man. Go ahead, Farrell. Say your piece real quick, and then we'll open it up, man.
Okay, cool. Pretty much at the end of the day, reason why women are doing what they want is because the environment. BGS has stated this numerous of times. You change the environment, you change the culture, you pretty much change the behavior. As simple as that. Pretty much the white man, pretty much white supremacy, they have the control of that. And as we see further down time, where we done read articles about debt to income ratio, student loans, people can't find jobs, millennials are moving back home with their parents, you will start to see a change in people's behavior. It is what it is. Yeah, like 2019, 2020, you either get on, you get left. Simple as that.
All right, let's go to Black Ram. He's been waiting for a minute. Black Ram, if you're still there, the floor is yours.
Salute to the panel and salute to the chat. I just had a couple of points I wanted to make.
Shalom, man.
Brother Black Ram,
what's happening to Gone? And also to Farrell's point, white supremacy is global, and other women of other cultures, you can find none that act as egregious and immoral as the women that we call our counterparts. And having said that, the question is there must be something deeply rooted in her. I have my own theories about that, and I won't push that on the panel because they're more religious views. However, we really do have a type of woman that's like no other. Even in America, which is a melting pot, you have cultures from all over the world who exist here under the rule of white supremacy, and they don't act like that. And you do have cultures that's been here a very long time, and they don't act like that. So there's something deeply rooted there. We talked about, Sabugi talked about male accountability, and where is our accountability? And I like to say that men are always held accountable, even when they don't want to. It's the man that's placed on child support. It's the man that goes to jail for non-payment of such child support. It's the man that's socially shamed if he doesn't take care of his responsibility. A woman can say, I don't want this child, and drop the baby off at a fire station and say she don't want to have anything to do with the child ever again, and never have to pay a child support payment or be held responsible for anything. C Boogie also talked about being a leader and how it's on him. I would also like to add that in the community, it's the Black female that are the leaders. And not only are they leaders of the community, they're also leaders, and they're also bosses when it comes to the game of sex. She chooses, you don't. Anything else is considered rape. Now, we hear all our lives that this female is more mature. We hear all our lives that she's more moral. We hear all our lives that she's supposed to be more responsible. But when you look at the numbers and the raw data, we don't see that. This space is the only space that's talking about where and asking for female accountability. And I want to say this one thing about the term succubus. Everybody know what the term is, but who I'm not referring to when I say succubus is the woman who's a virgin when she gets married, is the woman who only has dealt with one man. And the succubus is not the woman who, even though she's dealt with multiple men, has repented of that and turned away from that and decides to be with only one man. The term succubus is not indicative of all females, whether they be Black or any color. When I say the term succubus, is specifically related to that attitude of, I don't need no man, I can do it by myself, I'm the leader of these communities, men are beneath me. That's the succubus. So I just want to make that clear, because I think, and I'm not accusing anyone on this panel, I'm just speaking in general, I think a lot of times when I use, or the word is used in this space, a lot of guys get to thinking like females and think that the term succubus applies to all females. And we know we have to dumb down and always say over and over again that it's not all per se, because you don't know every single woman. A virgin is not a succubus. However, even in this spaces among men, I see we have to say that over and over again. It's not all females. I think what it is some men just want to paint other men as just being a person who wants to demonize women, who hates women. And I do not hate women. I deal with them myself, particularly black women. My bippy doesn't discriminate. I like a bunch of women. Anyway, my point is this. The females are the leaders. The females are the ones who should be accountable, because the females are the ones, and we know this, gentlemen, are the ones with the power in the community. They're the one with the voices. They're the ones that are being heard. They're the one with all of the power. So should she be held accountable? And if you say, okay, well, she's just a female, well, then you're saying two things. If she's just a female, then you have to admit to their inferiority. So either A, she cannot be responsible for her own decision because she's inferior, or B, she isn't inferior, or she does have a mind, she can be held responsible. Which one is it? Now, the last thing I want to say, when we talk about women who get pregnant and become single mothers, let's be honest, most of the time, she's made the worst choice in a man. Your average thinking man is not the one who's making single mothers. Take myself, for example. My child's mother is educated. She takes care of my child, and I also take care of my child as well. Although she's single, as in not having a man, she does have me in her life who has spent time with my daughter and has taken care of my daughter. Why is she a single mother? Because her and I didn't get along, and it was her choice at the end of the day not to have me in her life. So it is with most females. It's the female who decides, hey, I don't want this man to be in my life as my leader, as my head. I want another guy. I want another boyfriend. So we have to look at that elephant in the room. It's the female who makes all the choices. It's her who makes the choice to get in a relationship, the length of the relationship, and when it's time to exit the relationship 9 times out of 10. Am I saying that happens every single time? No. But your average thinking black man is present in his child's life. Your average thinking black man is not making single mothers. And those of us like myself who are parents and have women that may be single mothers, we're not the ones who are not present. We are very present. But again, at the end of the day, it's her choice. And if society gives her free reign to make those promiscuous choices, gives her free reign to decide when, how, and what the terms of relationships will be. So I just wanted to say that to make my piece on that. I'm open to anybody's rebuttal on that, and we'll move on to the next person.
Anybody have a rebuttal to Brother Black Ram?
Nah, I think that was well stated.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll step up. The only thing that I've ever had to say was, well, the dick still ended up in it. And I hate to take a very simplistic view for such a elegant statement, but that's just where I'm coming from. I'm not. Once again, I'll repeat it for the 5th time. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to do none of that. None of that. I'm not here to judge any man. What I'm saying is, how did your dick end up in her?
Let me answer that. That was my girlfriend. We were in a relationship, and relationships don't always work out. Also, to that point, I am held accountable for my actions. It's called child support. I am volunteering my responsibility. It's called raising my child.
Cool. I got nothing to say about it.
And once again, let's make this last point. We have a culture of women who actually praise themselves and pat themselves on the back for being single mothers. That's my problem, C Boogie. I'm not saying men shouldn't be responsible, but we have a whole group of women who, you go girl, because you're a single mother, you can do it all on your own, you don't need no man. That's the problem.
Well, I think all of this, to kind of put it in context for the people, where it started from was, because it wasn't you, Ram, it actually was another guy, and the conversation would have looked something like this. I had a kid out of wedlock because I was young and I made a mistake. I said, cool, I don't give a fuck. We all was young. We all make mistakes. But what I said was this. I said, so what if a woman came on the panel, she got a child, and she said, you know what, I was young and dumb, and I made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I said was, well, y'all would take our head off. And, to me, it's just like, well, objectively thinking, if you're going to give a pass to one, then you got to get a pass to the other one. Just being fair.
I
Just
agree
being
with
fair.
Yeah,
So you know, that's my only thing with that.
And this is what the statement I made earlier. I said, who's not the succubi is the woman who is repentant and actually has some remorse for making those decisions. I don't call it, we all make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes are pretty fatal or detrimental. However, the woman who can humble herself and say, you know what, me being a single mother was wrong and contributes to the dysfunctional society, I'll say, hey, my hat will be off to her. And guess what, C Boogie? Me being a father that's not literally present in the home with my child is a bad thing. And I'm responsible for that. And this is a terrible thing. Listen, I would not like nothing better than to see clean, safe neighborhoods with excellent schools, thriving businesses, and intact families. However, when we have a culture of women who are actually against that, who are literally against that until they get old and have a bunch of kids, that's a problem. And let me say, we understand the statistic that the majority of, I think it's what, 53% of Black men don't even have.
Yeah, 53.
53%. So we have to look at those things and understand that we have a whole culture of dysfunction. And we don't like to say it, but the females are the leaders of this.
Well, if we're going to speak on statistics,
I just want to say the statistics is by the CDC. Not by the CDC, but the Census Bureau. As of 2014, it's 50%.
Well, 41% of Black women don't have children. We're going to go by statistics. So,
but 50% of Black men. That's just
right. So is you know, it's still a significant amount of Black women that don't even have a child. But anyway, moving on. But yeah, that was my only point about that was you know, taking it back to the one incident, and you know, I'm just being objective. You know, I'm a Libra, dog. I put everything on the scale, and and usually in these conversations with you know, guys, and you know, maybe certain content, it's not laid out the way you put it, Ram. It's more laid out like, oh, well, fuck this bitch, this, that, and third. You know, and it's just like, you know, my position is always going to be hard. It's just like, well, and this is coming from a guy that's going through a situation right now that, you know, I'm not going to speak on, but, you know, but even through all of that, it's just like, you know what, Boogie, I'm not going to get on you. Not about the noise. I'm not going to get on YouTube and make 50 videos about the situation. But you know what, Ram? I put my dick in that. And that's just how I rectify that. I did.
Right. And I like that in you, C Boogie, that as men, we do have to hold ourselves accountable and not put our dicks in these type of women as far as having babies. And what I've done, I'm not saying that this is every man should do, and some men may even think it wasn't the right choice to make, but I had a vasectomy because I didn't want to ever have to have a situation where I have a child with a woman and she has the power to leave me holding the bag as far as paying child support and not being a father. That was a decision I made because I held myself accountable, saying, you know what, I don't want a situation in this adverse society we live in with our so-called women to be put in a situation where I see a lot of guys where the woman just say, you know what, I want another guy. I don't want to deal with you anymore. And then you left to being every other weekend father. I didn't want that ever again. So I held myself accountable. Not every
I had a vasectomy in 2014 myself. You know, just went on and got that thing snip.
Oh yeah, I had mine in 07. Oh no, 06.
yeah, you throw back. So yeah, you know, I get it, man. You know, that's my only point. You know, I was ever trying to make was, you know, look, you know, if the object is to just, you know, beat down on the woman, I get it. But once again, if we're going to give concessions on one end for being young and dumb, then come on, man. You know, if she said that, you take her head off, then, you know, I'm looking like, come on, man. And me personally, I'm be honest, I don't believe in abortions. And that's kind of how I'm rolling on that. I think it's murder. So,
I agree.
You know, that's a whole nother subject for another day. But I would tell anybody, you know, I don't believe in abortions. I just think that's just one of the worst things that ever happened to our society. And it's fucked up, and it is what it is. But somebody else can grab the mic. Oh, I'm sorry.
My last point is that you said that a woman who come and say she was just young and dumb, guys would tear her head off. And that's true for some, of course, not myself and probably present company. However, I haven't seen many women in this sector or outside this sector who would actually hold themselves accountable and say, you know what? I was young and dumb and became a single mother. I got pregnant by a no good guy. And this is my situation. We know women don't take that and say she's accountable. She's gonna always blame the man, although she has all the forms of birth control ever. Abortion, although we don't like it, is an option. So when she becomes a single mother, I'm not saying a man isn't accountable. I'm just dealing with the female. When it comes to being a single mother, no woman gets pregnant on accident. Sorry, it's too many forms of birth control. Too many forms of birth control. And when a man, he does this thing with her, I would say that's purposeful too, of course. But here's the problem. Look at who she's laying down with and who is, where I come from, I can't speak for everybody else, but where I come from, Thuggo gets all the vag. Where I come from the west side of Chicago. And that's what I see. And I'm not saying it's everybody else's experience. Where I come from, if you ain't no D-boy or you ain't no thug, you ain't getting no ASS. The women up there would have had to be outside that community. But go ahead, brother.
Well, let me propose this to you. I'm not sure if you've ever been to Germany before.
No, I haven't.
One of the things I've seen is it's a slew of black babies over there. And no, I'm serious. Now, one of the reasons why I've never got into the Pookie Ray Ray educated lame argument, because I've always seen it on both sides. Because I'm like, well, Lord Thuggo ain't got no passport, bruh.
Yeah.
You go to the Philippines, you see all these little, these little black babies over there. And so my thing was always, I'm gonna stay out of this, because I kind of just look at it on some level as a man kind of issue and not a certain faction of men. Because I've seen a lot of this in person. And it's just like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Why these little black babies over here, man? And showing up,
Well, let me offer an alternative to what you're saying. We shouldn't assume that it's ADOS doing that, right? There's a lot of Africans who have money that do travel down to Asia, even on YouTube. I think they have some of these channels, and they do their thing down there.
That's a good point. My bad. Yeah, no. That's a hell of a good point.
You beat me to the punch, Mike, because I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You know what I mean? But I'm just making a statement that Lord Thuggo fucks up the community, but I was just looking at this shit globally, like, oh man, black man, we got a problem with the penis, man. You know what I'm saying?
And
got a problem with the penis, man.
And it's of my opinion that Lil Thuggo comes from succubus, Miss Keisha. I think single motherhood creates Lil Thuggo. And I'm not asking anybody to agree with my premise, but my premise is this: the female.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Let me say this real quick. The female makes a choice who she wants to lay with. Most of the time, not all the time, she's going to pick the worst person to have a child with. When a child is born, she decides she don't want to be with that man anymore. He dies or go to jail. This is been my experience. And what she raises is an effeminate black male who ends up becoming Thuggo, repeating the same cycle. And this all started in the 60s when she said, you know what? I'm going to take this welfare check. Lyndon B. Johnson said, hey, the Welfare Act of the 1960s, let me take this check. She said, I don't need no man. The government going to take care of me, and I'm going to raise these kids by myself, and this is what you think.
I think Iceberg Slim talked about this maybe 100 years ago, what's going on. So I would probably say that the 1960s was a not so much as a turning point, but just as a more visible point. It probably was more visible, but it seems to me that Iceberg Slim was talking about this in the 20s.
Well, if you look at this,
I just want to say this. I think what really also hyped a lot of the craziness that went on was drugs too. Drugs came in and did a lot and really spun a lot of things around, spun a lot of things out of control. They threw that in the mix with a lot of other things. That was another policy. I'm going to just say that was another policy that was tossed in on top of this that really caused an awful lot of confusion and dysfunction as well.
Yeah, if you look at, like I say, man, if you want to look at communities like Detroit back in the 60s, thriving economy because of the auto industry, man, and, I think they had the second largest black middle class in the nation. And, you know, soon as the auto industries left, you know, this is when you started to see the carnage, and you know, it was a direct correlation. So many black men losing their jobs, and then you toss drugs into that. You know, that's a combustible combination right there. You know, so my position has always been drugs. I kind of seen my community, and you know, so not to say that feminism didn't have its part, but I've never put the soul of, you know, the meat of the bullshit on like feminism. I'm like, nah, drugs really flip this thing upside down to the point where it just fucks shit up so bad. But you know, guys ain't got a
combination.
Well, yeah, I mean, feminist. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, you know, put a pie chart. I don't know, you know, but I think after the crack era, it was done. Community was finished. Flatline.
So let's look at this real quick. Let me say this real quick. In the 60s, you had a perfect storm. You had the rise of feminism, you had the rise of the welfare programs, and then that degenerated. And then once the late 70s, early 80s came in, you had the advent of crack cocaine. So I think those three things work together.
Well, Black Ram, heroin first in the 60s. I saw it.
Okay, the smack of the 60s.
At the smack of the 60s, at the end of the 60s, around 68, 69. Okay. It was terribly on.
And it was right around the peak of feminism and the start of the Welfare Act. So I think those things came together to target.
That is correct. That is correct.
These things came together to target the black community.
And it was not an accident.
It wasn't an accident. And I don't want to put all the blame on the females, but they were particularly attracted to those things. They were attracted to feminism. They didn't have to take feminism. They were attracted to it. They didn't have to take the welfare check. They were attracted to it. So they said, well, you know what? We rather take the welfare check and feminism over strong families. And it was their choice to make, because going back to Brief's law, it's the female that, not the male, who basically selects the male and causes all the condition that we see, because she is the one who is giving sexual access.
That's what Dr. Julia Hare said in the late 1970s and early 1980s. I uploaded that video before.
Sure did.
She said that who black women procreate with will determine the future of the black society. She only died recently this year, a few months ago.
That's correct.
She went to the grave saying the same thing. So
these are facts.
What's her name again? I'm gonna do a little research.
Dr. Julia Hare, Hare. She died in February, I think. But she was talking about this in the 70s, that who black women procreate with will determine the future of the black community.
And that's just a normal thing. That's normal. That's normal. We see it in the animal kingdom. We see it all over. This is normal. There's nothing strange or anomalous about that. And that's exactly what we're seeing.
And only societies that don't have those issues are those societies who take a strong role in controlling their women. Just ancient Israelite culture, which women were viewed as property, and the arrangements of sexual relations and marriage was determined by the groom-to-be and the father. The female had no say-so. And societies that are close to that are those who don't have the problems that we have. And I know that may be very extreme, but I think that's the only way to correct the problems. A woman has to become your property.
But it seems to me, and I want to make sure we go to Nagon. He has his hand raised. It seems to me that even the most educated of women have this issue. So it doesn't seem to be a level of socioeconomics. It seems to be the culture itself is saying that this is the correct way of living, despite the short-term gains that it has. In fact, we had a woman recently here, a black woman, who lost her PhD, her ability to practice law, because she had engaged with some thuggo, as you would call it, Black Ram. She engaged with a thuggo on some stuff, and had the alphabet boys running her house, man, and basically take had CPS take her child from her, and then she lost the ability to practice law and ruined her career.
And see, Boogie can attest to this, Mike. In correctional settings, there are so many women who have bachelor's degrees and advanced degrees who you would think wouldn't, but end up getting pregnant by thuggo the inmate. You know, so even educated women, there are a lot of women who that is their preference. In a lot of situations, he is the select male. Let's just call it what it is. In a correctional setting, these females are lusting after the guy with the body. And there was a study, I forgot which one, Obsidian mentions it all the time, but it shows that Black women have a more predisposition toward looks than anything else in any other race of women. And seeing in correctional settings, from what I've heard, so to speak, there are a lot of women who end up pregnant by these guys who are incarcerated.
There's a lot of fucking going on in jails. A lot of fucking
exactly, C-Bug. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
No, a lot of fucking you know, they get it in, and yeah, a lot of fucking.
And not just the COs, C-Boogie, you know, they have nursing staff. A lot of times they have commissary staff, teachers. So there are a lot of women, a whole lot of women in correctional settings, and they are getting banged out on a regular.
I know a female correctional guard. She's involved in some real estate, and she, you know, I don't want to get on into her background, but she's pretty butter laid. I'll give her a lot of credit. She says that a lot of guys sweet talk a lot of these women who are correctional guards in there. They sweet talk them. A lot of these women don't have men or in shaky relationships of their choosing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are halfway decent attractive. A lot of these sweet talkers are guys who have a lot of game on the street, are buffed up and look really good. And, you know, from a physical standpoint, because they always say men don't age that much in jail. They age a lot faster when they get out, but they seem not to age as fast in jail. They stay in shape.
Don't you think that's just an excuse?
And these women get talked into all kind of things, and much of this stuff, more of it gets covered up than gets exposed.
And Nagon, let me ask you this though: don't you think that's an excuse that them getting talked out of their drawers? Because think about it.
I don't think it's an excuse. I think she's speaking hardcore reality.
But here's the thing:
of what's going on. That these women are definitely they're going to be attracted. They're going to be attracted to these guys, and they're falling for them.
But you know, correctional officer women have sworn an oath to uphold.
Of course. I'm not giving any excuse to these for what's going on. I'm giving them an out. They were weak. No, that's bullshit. I'm saying they are being talked. They're being they're coming in here totally on their guard game, and they're literally getting talked out of their belt first, their gun, then their pants, and out they fucking drawers. They getting talked out of that shit.
Yep.
All on the job.
And my point is, if you don't really control a woman's sexuality, she's going to cause a lot of trouble for everybody.
Well, yeah.
Nobody's
controlling them up there. They're walking around with impunity, and you got these buff ass dudes who are looking at them saying, "That's a fat ass, and I think I could fuck," and that's what's happened. And these women
who's this, Mike?
That's Dr. Julia here. She passed away earlier this year. So she was making this prediction in 1984. That this is her right here. So she predicted it back then that what's happening now is something that she had already foresaw that was going to come down the pike.
That's crazy. Wow.
Right. So what I'm saying here is a lot of people think that we're just making this stuff up or that we're complaining, but this is the Black woman who's basically saying that these guys, these brothers, these educated brothers are what Black women should be choosing and they're not. And for various amount of reasons.
Now, I'm just going to say this. Black Ram, to what you were saying about Thuggo and what's going on in the jail system, the hardcore realities of which many of us may not want to admit in many settings, these women like Thuggo. Mm-hmm. They do. And I'm not saying they're the preeminent people who are running shit, because I believe I have the figures on who are the more preeminent guys, but Thuggo is definitely going to have his shot as well. He's going to get his shot. And if that's all they're around, they're looking good, they're going to get their shot. Fuck any type of law or restriction that's out there. They're getting up in them drawers. That's what's happening. That's the hardcore reality.
And somebody else was about to talk.
It is what it is.
We have
Go ahead,
people
man.
we have people with their hands up.
Okay.
I think we had Dr. Phoenix come in and John nothing. Let's go to Dr. Phoenix and then we'll go to Farrell.
Yeah, good evening to everyone. I just had a couple quick comments. One about the incel issue. I think it's just really I think it's really sad when black men refer to other black men as incels as if somehow these guys came out of nowhere. They were created by black society. This is a black society problem. It's not just the fact that these men may have had difficulties getting women, sustaining interpersonal relationships with women as girlfriends or wives or whatever case may be. But understand that many of these men came out of homes that were broken, and therefore they were broken in the process. So we created them.
I think there's a medical description for it, ACE, adverse child effects.
Yeah, adverse childhood experiences. This was created by a pediatrician and a nurse, and there's a whole section in the CDC. If you just Google it, it'll come up really quickly. Probably be at the top of the search list. But there's a whole section. There's a series of issues or experiences that fall under that get categorized as adverse childhood experiences. So it's not, again, we talk about the issues that black men face, but we don't seem to understand that a good majority of black men out here are experiencing depression, which is why you see so many guys in their 20s and 30s they're directionless. They don't have a purpose. Because part of that is because they're having depression, and depression ultimately manifests itself as anger. Anger and depression go hand in hand. So I just want to say to the idea that somehow black society is not responsible as a whole for creating these kinds of men is really disingenuous. And two, as it pertains to the issues with black women, I agree 100% with what Black Ram said. Again, I'm from Chicago. I grew up on the South Side. I got buddies that used to live on the West Side. I know what it does. I know how it goes down in Chicago.
Yep.
So, but I want to say something because there was a very specific incident that happened on the Breakfast Club. I want to say it was either late last year or maybe early this year. There was a particular woman that came on, very well known black feminist, if you will, Black Lives Matter type activist, but she said something on a nationally syndicated radio station that never got really pushed back on. There was only a handful of folks in YouTube who really pushed back on that. But she said that black men are the number one cause of death for black women. If you were to look up the top 10 causes of death for black women, interpersonal domestic violence isn't even in the top 10. But yet she was freely able to go on a platform like the Breakfast Club, say that, barely got an ounce of pushback. But somehow we're not supposed to be holding people accountable for behavior and for rhetoric that gets used against black men.
So that's the narrative they were pushing, Dr. Phoenix? That
was what was said. Yeah. You guys don't take my word for it. Google it. Yeah. Search for it. You were here. She literally said it. There was one person that I know that did something specifically about it, and it was Tariq Nasheed. He talked about it.
That's the that's the succubus right there.
So like, let me say this about the incel piece. I mean, I don't have any studies on incels. My thing is this: incels come in all races. You can look right here on YouTube at a lot of these channels. Actually, most of the channels I've watched, because I've did extensive, just watching of those videos. Most of them were white. I seen 2 black guys on there, a couple Asian guys. So it's incels come in all races, man. And so I don't know. I'm not too sure about the correlation between the how a motherfucker was brought up in his childhood to him being an incel. I don't know, man. I'm gonna do a little bit more research on it, Because I think that thing has a lot more layers to it than,
and certainly it does,
than just that alone. Because once again, if we saying that these homes breed thuggo, we saying thuggo getting all the pussy, I'm like, well, which one is it? You know what I mean? Is it everything? Is it both? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, a lot of these guys, you know, do come from two-parent households. A lot of these guys, you know, and I'm just speaking like incels in general. You know, they got mothers and fathers in the house, man. You know, you look at this Elliot Rodger guy, you know what I'm saying? You know, I think it's a mental component to it for the guys that kind of go crazy. But if we just talking about guys that don't get no ass, you know, and I would just kind of leave it at that. Like God that just not having his luck with women, or he just can't
I
seem
think
to
it's a
get
lot
that right.
deeper than that, brother.
My
I
bad.
really do.
Go ahead, Dr. Phoenix.
No, I was just gonna say I think it's a lot deeper than that.
Well,
If you were to talk to any healthcare professional, specifically any psychotherapist, they would tell you, the ones that deal specifically with Black male mental health, they would tell you the majority of the reasons Black men are coming to see them is because of they're dealing with depression. And depression is stemming from interpersonal issues, not just between them and the women that they may be personally involved with as their girlfriends or wives, but a lot of it is also stemming from the homes they came out of. We know that the majority of Black males are growing up in single mother households, and that that is very much part of the overall psychological conditioning that Black men go through growing up in this country. So I mean, when I'm getting at, not to take away from what anything you said, C Boogie, what I'm saying is that simply you are right. There are layers to it, but I can tell you from my personal experience, I went to a PWI, brother. Just last night, I was sitting in a room with a bunch of Black medical students and a bunch of Black physicians. Nobody in that room was making less than $250 after taxes. Excuse me, everybody in that room was making more than $250 minus the medical students, excuse me, after taxes. But the reason I bring that up is that these kinds of men, this kind of incel behavior is not coming from those groups of men. And if we're going to bring in white men into the equation, then we also have to bring in the fact that we've seen over the last couple years, pretty much since Donald Trump got in office, we were damn near having a mass shooting from a white male almost every week. We had a whole span within this summer where you were having 1 or 2 mass shootings damn near every week. And these were white men. That is firmly incel behavior. What we're seeing with Black men is maladaptive dissociative behaviors that is stemming from interpersonal issues with the women that they're with, also from the households that they were brought up in.
And we're also dealing with a social construct that has been artificially implemented by the community itself, and we see it even being proliferated in the Manosphere or YouTube, Black YouTube, where certain individuals whose masculinity has become irresponsible and volatile, for that matter, calling guys fuck boys and fuck niggas and stuff like that. Women are actually gravitating towards this, and they're actually encouraging it. And what happens here is that the BM who does not exude that sort of behavior is not rewarded. Whereas the volatile Black male, the volatile BM, he is handsomely rewarded with lots of interpersonal engagement with these BWs who decide that I'm going to further reward him with a offspring. I want to have more of his offspring and actually create more of him.
And that's exactly correct, brother.
I want to ask Black Ram, are you still there?
I think he left.
I just want to add something to what you were saying, Mike.
Oh yeah. I just want to ask you a question. Black Ram, in this prison system, from what you may you may know of it, when you see these Black female guards who were running with these inmates fucking them, of which that's their choice. They're actually making this choice to do such. These women are making this choice. Right. What do you think drives most of this? Is it the fact that they have an easy dick to get to and move on? And that's why they are so subject to it, because they're making this choice. They are making a choice. What do you think is driving a lot of that?
from what I've observed and heard, number one is that these guys are have a certain look to themselves. And the second thing is a lot of guys may have a name in the streets that follows them to the jail.
That's
And
right.
they looking at the street cred, they're looking at the look, saying, okay, I find this guy attractive. Here's the thing. It's like not all, but many black females are attracted to power. This is true. But the black female is attracted to the how can I say, the show of power, not real power. You know what I mean? It's the D-boy who ends up in jail who she finds attractive, not the guy who's the CEO of a company, not the guy who owns his own business. These are
masculine gestures, pretty much.
Exactly. So who Thuggo is a pseudo masculine male who over exaggerates his masculinity to cover up for his insecurities and his lack of productivity, and the female takes that bait hook, line, and sinker because it appears powerful. So in other words, your average drug dealer doesn't own a home. He doesn't have a pension or retirement plan. He has cash that's going to be out of his hand very, very, very soon. She's attracted to the pretense behind that. She's attracted to the flash behind that, even if he's in jail and don't even have all of that. And that's the thing. It's like a reverse type of hypergamy. It's like, well, this guy really can't do much for you, but she just attracts to that raw, sheer animalistic power that he may appear to have.
It's short term. It's very short term, and if not downright destructive, sort of engagement. Because what happens here is more offspring is reproduced from that, and I think what happens with the quote unquote black incel, or the person who's disproportionately affected by the by this sort of environment, he's being held responsible for something that he almost certainly has absolutely nothing to do with. And that's enraging a lot of your BMs and social media spaces that come out and say F this, F that, F the community for all intents and purposes. And we're ignoring those guys and saying, you just have a lot of problems. You need to stay in the corner and be quiet. And while we give more lip service to farm animals and whatnot on other panels, I just think that there needs to be a correction in dialogue. The wrong people are having this sort of discussion. I think with C Boogie and MOT had a very excellent exchange in this, in sort of the ideas. And at the end, they actually came to a conclusion. They actually agree more with each other than they disagree.
Nah,
and
Phoenix,
something?
Dr. Phoenix, Dr. Phoenix was actually,
those are two Butterley brothers.
Dr. Phoenix was actually talking earlier. We cut him off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. You know something, Dr. Phoenix.
Yeah,
man,
no, I just want to add something. Then I'm gonna step off for the evening, but I do want to add this because I do like the brother C Boogie. I don't want to make it sound like he was getting ganged up on or anything like that. But my point is, it would be irresponsible of me with my background and my skill set to sit here and not understand the systemic issues that brothers face, and that they have been facing for decades, or really since the inception of this country. And as much as we say the issues of Black people, of ADOS, Black people are unique in this country, I would say even more so the issues that Black men face are even far more unique. Because we're the only group of men in this country that are not protected. Anyone can label us, call us anything. They can label they can Pedo. Accuse us of anything. We can get any accusation against us, and we've seen it time and time again. Brothers have lost careers, they have lost their livelihood, they have lost their lives in that process.
It's interesting.
And again, what we call the incel is the byproduct of the dysfunction of the community.
Let me respond to that, because I never want to make it seem like I'm not sensitive to the plight of us. I would challenge anybody on this panel who talk about mental health more than I do. That's an open challenge on their platform that anybody can take at any given time. I'm the only one that put myself out there to say, dog, I'm active in therapy. That was me from day one. So I never want to do that. Now, we might have differences, but if that's the conclusion that you come up with, then that's wrong. And even the incel thing, I like I say, you could be right. I don't know. I just got my own views because I mean, history tells us only 51% of men in the history of the world procreated, my brother.
In the black community or the world?
The history of the world, only 51% of men ever procreated. This is a savage kind of when you're talking about mating, it gets very savage. And to me, where I stand on it is a system was put in place by greater men that with a certain amount of status and money and this and that you'll at least have the opportunity to mate. But if we talk about just raw mating and that kind of behavior, yeah, that's a very savage kind of situation. And to me, this is the greatest time in history for just a common man to kind of get a wife and have children. That's just where I'm coming from on that. So when I say nature created the incel, well, history tells us that it's about right. Now, the black man's plight and our depression and things, yeah, I agree on that. And I don't call God. I would I call the incels, the Elliot Rodgers, the George Soudinis. I don't just throw that out there. Even when I went at it with Obsidian, I was like, man, he's a quasi incel. You know what I'm saying? But I don't just throw that out there loosely. But I don't
quasi incel or Quasimodo.
both. You know what I'm saying? But I don't throw that term out there loosely. All these motherfuckers are incel. Nah, man. That's serious business, and I know the damage that can come with these
like
guys and the shit that they have done. But I think if we're going from a historical base, incel's been around from the beginning of time, bro.
Yeah, and just to add to that, really to slightly rebut that, yes, that is true. However, I think there needs to be a delineation between what a black incel is versus what is an incel of every other group. Because I think the conditions that create the black incel are far more unique as opposed to other groups. Again, we see white men acting out because they see themselves losing a foothold on the natural hegemony that they've had in the world, versus black males. When you see them acting out, is usually because they've had a myriad of experiences that have led them into deep levels of depression and ultimately anger. So yeah. I think there needs to be a delineation between what we consider a quote black incel versus what a white incel is. Now, you are right. I mean, there has always been incels and incel activity throughout history. True. But what I'm saying is that as a whole, we really do need to examine it. And I agree with you. Mental health is a huge component because I haven't personally talked about this a lot, but I share a similar experience to you. I was in the military, been in Iraq. I was a former Army medic. I've talked about this many times, so I know. So I know. I've gone through the whole process. I've gone to the VA, still go to the VA. I've talked about on many panels here on the Black Brain Trust how I go to the VA all the time. So I mean, again, so I agree with you. Brother. I think mental health specifically needs to be a top priority for Black men because so much of your productive years as a Black man gets robbed because I think many of us are going undiagnosed with depression and various issues associated with that. So I do think I'm very happy to hear another Black man, especially another Black man with a military background, who's very open and honest about what that is like and what that has been for him and how he pushing the idea of brothers going out here and getting mental health because I think it's a huge problem.
Yeah, I think because I know you got to go, but I just want to say this real quick because I'm about to bounce in a second as well. I think a lot of times in these conversations, we conflate a person's social the word I'm looking for, a person's social attraction to a sexual attraction. And, you know, I've always keep those separate. Always keep those separate because, you know, look, here's where I'm coming from. I'm gonna leave this alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. I think that's
no, yeah, no, write it down, man. Write it down, and we'll chop it up again.
It's just, you know, because I don't even want to go into it. Because when we talking about, you know, just let's just say we talking about mating, just mating, fucking, right? You know what I mean? YouTube term. Let's just say we're talking about fucking, then that is what we all know is only, you know, let's say we go by 80-20, right? That's the numbers. I don't necessarily believe in that, but whatever. For conversation purposes, let's go 80-20. Then we all know how that is. You know, you're talking about 20% of the guys, and you know, everybody else kind of, you know, got to get in where you fit in out here. So, you know, but that's only on a sexual basis. And then you got on a social basis where, okay, I'm accomplished, I'm this, I'm that. But in this environment, that is just not going to guarantee you a young hot bride. You know, so, you know, other things got to be put in place to kind of, because the whole daddy knows best era is gone. And I just don't think it's coming back in this environment. So, you know, you look at other things, like I say, like the Amish or the NOI, you know, places where they kind of put people together. And even if you want to go back in the Black community, you know, back in the day, you know, even when people married at a young age, dog, you had a whole community that kept their marriage together. You know, you got two young people, you know, they will fuck up, but now you got the community, you got the church, you got everybody keeping these people together, even when things were rocky. And that's how, you know, marriages was able to stay in place. But when you have no community, well, this is what you have. You kind of have a free for all, everybody just doing their own thing. But I don't conflate a person's social status to you know, his sexual status. Just because you make money doesn't make you desirable. And I know that's tough to swallow. I understand the position I am taking right now. I know it's tough, but I'm gonna stand on this. Just because you know what I'm saying? Just because you know, make good money does not make you desirable to women. And in any case, man, women want the most desirable guy. You know, even if you're talking about white women.
I have a question.
We can hear you. We can hear
what
you.
qualifies you to make that statement? You can't hear me?
No, I said we can hear you. We can hear you clearly.
Yeah,
because you were talking a little bit loud. So.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. After you say that statement, you do understand the statement that you make is a tacit endorsement for how this thing is set up. You're not trying to change it. You do understand that, right?
So me saying that is going to make a difference?
Yes, it does, because you're not supporting the other side of it. You're not.
Me stating that is going to influence somebody out here. I'm just speaking.
No. I mean, it's only the real deal because you possibly benefit from the situation the way it's set up.
I would benefit
otherwise,
either way,
there's no other reason why you would say that. And this is why I say overall, when you say that, this is why I call it caping for the actual circumstance. That's the reason, because I knew you was going to get around to it.
No, it's not. We talking about incels, we talking about this. Look, just because I make that statement, you know, the world is not going to come to an end. You know, so you telling me because a guy make a lot of money, you know, he's desirable to women. That's what you're saying. It's supposed to work like that.
See, Boogie. I'm saying I don't give a fuck what women think. But on top of that, I also can see whether a person is saying something that is in tacit endorsement over a system versus not. You do understand that this is not desirable circumstances. You do understand that this gives horrific results that come from this, that create the incels that you talk about. This is
Me
not an
making that
ideal
statement
set
is
of
create. Hold on. Me making that statement, just saying that brief statement is creating incels. Me, C Boogie from Baltimore saying that it's creating incels. I don't think so, bro.
That's not what I said.
That is what you
I'm
said.
saying. Okay, let me further clarify what I'm saying, because that's kind of what I said, but not what I said. Okay, see Boogie. The only thing I would like for you to do is just stand on the side with men. Don't cape for women. Don't explain their actions. Don't do any of that shit. You let them explain their actions. They're not good at doing it. And here's the thing. When men help them with their dysfunction, it don't help men. It helps women. This is why I say don't say the statement unless you're on their side. I mean, it may be reality.
Don't
You'll see
state the
me saying
obvious.
that
Don't
shit.
state reality.
It's not reality. It's a live reality because of a situation that's artificial. It's not nature. It's an artificial situation.
So like let me tell you the consequences of not living in reality.
Okay.
Let me break it down for you. So
okay.
You can go get with a female that's not sexually attracted to you, and let me know the outcome of that.
Nah, it would no. We will make the news actually. No. We will make the news because I do hold women responsible.
No. This isn't about holding them accountable. What I'm saying is, on his face, because you got a lot of money, doesn't make this woman like you. Now
I don't really care what she thinks. No.
I don't care
what she thinks.
I'm stating reality. I'm stating reality, man.
Okay.
I'm stating reality, and this is why I wasn't even going to go there. I was like, nah, because
it's a true statement, and I'm glad you said it. I am 100%.
I think it's a very so. Let me make this statement. Let me hear how you think about this, MOT. There are very good black women out there, but they ain't attractive. Do you want them? Honestly, do you want them? Yes or no?
Dude,
there are
I have
women
the
out
ability.
there.
See, Boogie, listen. I'm not restricted
that's not what I'm
to
saying.
black.
That's not what I'm saying.
No. See, Boogie, you're trying to restrict me to black women, and I'm not gonna let you do that.
Well, there are good women out there. Period.
See, Boogie.
Period.
Let me speak. Because of my levels of productivity, I'm not restricted to black women. Period. I can go anywhere in the world and get the best women that I want to. That's what money allows you to do. Now, when you don't have your money and your shit straight, you're stuck with these motherfuckers in this community. That's the difference between having your shit together and being able to move, and not having your shit together and picking from these fucked up, corrupt motherfuckers here. That's the difference. That's why I became productive. So no matter where this shit ended at, I didn't have to give a fuck about what a bitch thinks to get my sexual needs met. That's some shit that has to happen inside this culture for dudes who don't want to be productive and who don't want to travel and see other shit. That's the difference. That is the exact difference. And this is why I routinely say, I don't give a fuck about what a bitch thinks. I'm fucking productive and I can go wherever the fuck I want to. That's how that works. So if more men were to be more productive and actually get their shit straight and leave these motherfuckers alone, we would be better to fuck off. Period.
So
this is why I'm saying I don't say that type of shit. I can't do that.
Well, look,
I mean, it's a restriction on my part for no reason.
I was stating the obvious, my brother. I didn't restrict you in the box. You can do what you want with your phallus. I was just stating this something that I've literally met white girls that have told me this. I'm not sexually attracted to him, but because I understand the quality of life I want, I'm going. She was sucking a lot of dick through the back door and shit like that.
And I still don't give a fuck about what a bitch thinks. I'm telling you, it don't matter.
What I'm saying is, I'm coming from a boots on ground kind of situation.
I am too, but also there's choice to see Boogie. There's choice There's choice in this situation. You could choose to put up with this situation, or you could take your productivity elsewhere.
And
I
But
never
you're making
said
it
you
look like
couldn't. Like MOT, I just made a simple
can
statement,
I?
man. I didn't get into all the nuances of it. I just said, I just was stating the glaring obvious. And I know the position I've taken when I said that, and that's fine. All this other stuff, dog, you can, whatever you do with your phallus, my brother, I support you 100%.
what I'm saying though. With the statement that you just said, you pretty much be like, well, the reality is the reality, and I
the
guess you have
reality
to
is
deal with
reality.
it. No.
I didn't say you got to deal with it. I didn't say you got to deal with it.
Okay.
That's not what I said. I just said I'm just reporting from the field. Like, look, man, this is what I see. You know what I mean? And
I can report from the field that I have different results because I decided to take my stuff elsewhere, like all men should do. Any woman in this society who has messed up, you do not have to take her. You don't have to deal with anything. She does anything, throw her ass to the damn wolves. You don't
but
have to
how
put
did
up
you
with any
get
of this
all
shit.
of that out of that one statement?
Don't
How did you get
no.
all of that out of my one
I
statement?
am making a
I want
separate
to know how this
statement
goes.
that has. See, Boogie, I'm making a separate statement that's apart from anything that we just discussed to people who are listening. How I
So
got over. Okay,
so let me ask you a question, MOT.
go ahead.
When does the law of attraction work in your world? When?
Man, I don't give a fuck about that. I
Let me ask you.
choose. I choose the women. See, Boogie, I choose the women, and I don't give a fuck about what a bitch thinks. I don't know how many times I have to say that. I don't care about what she chooses. She has a fucked up choosing criteria. That's why I became productive, see, Boogie, so that way I wouldn't have to give a shit about the whims of what she wanted. I get to choose because I'm a productive motherfucker. What is wrong with what I just said? I don't
I
care
didn't say
about what she
anything was
thinks.
wrong. I'm just
Okay.
just trying to figure out how do we get into
I
all of
don't give a
this
fuck.
out of the
I
one
don't care
step.
about
All
that.
right, well, MOT, you don't have to listen to act like I never said it, act like it didn't
No.
exist. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm just
see,
saying at the
Boogie
end of the
caping for
day,
women, I doubt
that's
that. I doubt
that
that.
is
I'm stating the obvious.
that is
I'm
the
stating the
moral
obvious. I'm stating the obvious. And
for this culture. You're stating the
and to
obvious
me,
for this culture.
MOT,
we don't
let me
even
get in after you.
we don't even look at the consequences of certain kind of things because I think with your motto, it works in an old system. It works in a system where guys were not getting torn out the frame in divorce. With your motto, with my motto is saying, look, this is a different kind of game being played. You might want to be more careful. Where my motto is very modern, and the courts are very modern. Family courts are very modern. And if these women are divorcing guys at 80% clips,
Then
we
you
have a
don't
major
mess
issue out
with
here.
them. Then you don't mess
We have
with
a
them.
major issue out here.
See,
We
Boogie.
have a major issue out here.
So you don't mess with them, and you take your choices and your productivity elsewhere. You don't say it is what it is. I'm just gonna enjoy this or care about what she thinks. You take your productivity elsewhere. That's how I fixed it. This is why you don't hear me ever caring about what they think
I've I've
ever.
look, yo, bro. I've seen carnage on all different sides. Um, with my own brother. I've seen how he married a Japanese girl, torn out the frame. I've seen it on all different sides, and I'm just like, look, this any broad you bring to this country, you can take all these women out of this country,
See Boogie.
bring a
See
new
Boogie.
crop in. Hold on, bring a new crop of women in, one for one swap. Give it a generation. It's gonna be the
See
same
Boogie.
thing.
See Boogie. I'm never gonna say that. You want to know why? I know how to choose. She's gonna be connected to her family, and guess what happens when she step out of line? I can return this shit back to the manufacturer and have the good old hands of correction being put on her. I ain't got to do the shit, and that's what
And
I can choose. That's what I can choose. I choose a circumstance to where I have the maximum level of return on investment with my time. Now, in your system, it is what it is. You get what you get. Doesn't matter what you get from whatever culture. She's gonna act that way. Hell no. We got Amish. We have Arabs. We have first generation Latins. Ain't none of them people rolling like that here. And they're within the same culture that have all these so-called rights that other women have. This is why I don't say that, because I don't give women any type of trespass. You did it. You done it. You done that shit on purpose. I don't care what they think about nature or attraction or any of that shit. I don't apply and I don't give any level of trespass to women who would deliberately misuse the system to actually support their own ends. I don't do that.
Okay, I just think we're having two different conversations. Because I didn't even get into all that. I just
I mean, but
made a
that's
simple statement, man. Simple statement,
that
bro.
is what you're.
Simple
see,
statement, man.
That is essentially what you're saying. That's essentially
that's
what
not.
you're saying, though.
No, that's not.
Okay, all right, go ahead. Somebody else.
I can pretty just put it in the synopsis like this, and pretty much I understand where both sides is coming from. Pretty much on MOT side, he's pretty much coming from the position of power. So he handles things in a power play position. See, Boogie, you coming on the position of the current environment. So the game is kind of being played. You have to play it differently. But my thing is that let's be honest here. We have a plethora of black men that are not in the productivity. They're not even there. They're more likely to sit over here and talk about women because we all know that because that's what gets the most views is nothing but women. But when you sit over here and talk about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency and about real estate, no, there's nobody to be found.
Well, Pharaoh, let me say something to that. You know, YouTube is just but a small, tiny speck of what we would call reality, right? There's a world that exists outside of a small sector on a social media platform, right? That talks about a very specific thing. So, you know, we have to caution ourselves when it comes to perhaps getting entrapped into an echo chamber, right? Because I don't think YouTube reflects my greater reality, right? It's like I come to YouTube, there's a whole lot of conversations that happen, and literally there's just a whole bunch of question marks that pop up over my head, right? Because when I'm spending the majority of my time, which isn't here, it's out in the real world, right? There's a whole other different scenario going on. See, so I think we have to be very careful about how much stock we put into a lot of this stuff, you know, by content creators, right? We're going to be very broad about that term, content creators, as they like to call themselves. You have to be very careful about that because I heard it mentioned earlier. You know, you have guys, I think it was C Boogie who was saying this. You know, you got guys who basically will gravitate to a voice because that voice speaks for them because they don't have a platform or maybe even the ability to speak for themselves. Okay. See, so we have to be very, very, as men, okay, as men, this is kind of where MOT is going with this. Like as men, you can't allow a narrative that says, well, you know, at the end of the day, you're subjected to the nature of another person. You're only subjected to the nature of another person if you choose to subject yourself to that person.
Exactly.
Okay, that's really how this works here. You see, so MOT is pushing a narrative of, okay, well, look, the mindset is like, well, look, I don't subject myself to anything that doesn't net me a plus positive, either in terms of my own happiness, my fucking bank account, or a combination of the two. Okay, and that should be like the default setting that most men should be in. I would posit to say all, but you know, they make men a little bit different nowadays. So hey, you know, I'm trying to give a little bit of space and room for those who who need accommodation. But I would say that is the default setting as a man who looks at himself as a productive individual, somebody who's enterprising. Okay, if you are these things, then guess what? By default, you have no fucking time to be dealing with. By default, it's not even up for discussion. Now, if you have that mindset, because I have it, that's why I don't put up with that. A lot of the shit that dudes complain about, I'm kind of dumbfounded by it, quite honestly. I'm just saying, if you got money to make, you ain't trying to like entertain people that's going to be fucking with that money. You get what I'm saying? So we prioritize things as men. We prioritize what's important, right? Right. Where do all of these things fall? Now, if C Boogie is speaking on the nature of women, then guess what I have to do? I have to intelligently assess my situation and say, okay, for somebody who has these proclivities, where should I place them on the level of importance?
Right.
Like, let me ask. I'll ask the panel. So somebody who has shown a habit to express these proclivities over and 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 take no accountability for nothing, right? And we've even come to the determination that this is a nature issue, right? It's a nature issue. Okay. See, so how much stock are you going to put in that?
You won't even put too much, because even if, let's say, about the sexual desirability of the woman, of the man that she does want, even long term, familiarity breeds contempt, and she's going to have the same issues as well. So that's why I would take the stance of MOT. I don't care what they want, because they're going to complain anyway.
There you have it. I mean, what's so difficult about this?
Well, I don't, you know, I just made a general statement.
No, I wasn't speaking to you specifically, C Boogie. What I'm trying to do is I'm really trying to like project something here that we can all kind of swallow and really kind of take a 360-degree view of it all. This wasn't a swipe at anyone. This wasn't a cosign for anyone, because I actually co-signed a point of yours, and I also co-signed a point of MOT's. But I'm really trying to actually instill like a mindset. Okay.
Well,
if we examine and we determine that there are people who that we commonly bring into our lives, i.e., sisters, BWs, whatever you want to call them, right? And we have this desire to do so, right? We have this desire to do so because of nature. All I'm asking brothers to do is apply a little bit of intelligence when we consider these things.
Well,
intelligence.
Let me respond to that. Then I'm gonna bounce on a few. I think you know, I guess the world that I live in, and I don't have as much money as MOT, not even close. I just give it to guys hot off the press of what I see. You know, and in my personal life, I don't deal. Anybody that know me personally know how I roll. I don't deal with these kind of situations with, you know, fucked up women. And somehow, you know, my statements get reverted back to that, and I'm like, nah. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just made a general statement, you know, to the prior conversation, and you know, I understand, you know, that position and what it entails, but you know, me saying that, you know, is not gonna, you know, stop the world from spinning. You know, I don't really think so. The few people that are even watching me right now, you know, it has no impact. You know, it doesn't mean I'm caping for women. It doesn't mean I'm just speaking what I see, my experiences, and that's pretty much where I'm coming from. Everything is from my experiences. That's it. And there are consequences to everything. There are consequences to everything. So, you know, I agree, and I do agree with MOT. Get your money up. You ain't got to worry about certain things. You know, it is what it is. And, you know, that's a good position to take. You know, nature isn't always kind. And when I say nature, I mean Mother Nature, just nature in general. You know what I'm saying? Nature in general. You know, we can't just put that on the back burner because it doesn't matter to us. It's like, dog, I don't want it to rain tomorrow, but if it decides to rain, it is what it is. I better have an umbrella, right?
No, you don't put nature on the back burner. Use intelligence to navigate it.
Yeah, and I agree. You know, but my statement was just a standalone statement. I was like, well, you know, that's kind of, you know, a lot of frustrations with a lot of guys, and I'm just here to say, in this current environment, no, you know, that's the reality. You know, in this current environment. Now you got sub coaches that people have created, yes, that men had banded together, organized, and they created and they run it top to bottom, you know, but that's not mainstream. We would call those subcultures. But those aren't the everyday norms for, you know, everyone. You know, so that was only thing I
I mean,
meant in my statement.
But see, Boogie, it was a subculture that created this whole thing in the first place. Like, you yeah, I mean, like the subculture of non-productive men getting access to women having kids and not raising them, and those kids having kids. That's how we got here, along with the welfare and the food stamps and the feminist policies and all that. So it was a subculture that created what we have now, because it was never always this way. It wasn't. I mean, because if that's the case, it would be this way everywhere, all over the world. But it's only this way in societies where women have a whole lot of power of choice and not very much restriction. That's the kind of thing. I mean, because in other cultures, it would never even matter what a woman wants. It doesn't. She doesn't produce. She doesn't get too much say. Here, since we have the artificial idea that sex is somehow not really all that much available, this is how come her opinion became so worthwhile. Is because the men don't have power. Now, once men have power and leave her ass alone, then her power and her actual sexual choices really don't mean that much. What I'm saying simply is that men should never worry about what a woman wants sexually. We shouldn't even worry about that. I mean, it should never even come out of a man's mouth that we should worry about what a woman wants. We shouldn't. I mean, because what a woman wants is exactly the community that we got right now. So we need to practice, stop thinking about what women want, and focus on your individual happiness.
Well, look, who benefited the most off feminism? White women, right? They got the
No,
boat.
I'm talking about. I mean, out
Well,
of black men and black women. Okay, out of black men and black women.
I'm just speaking in general. You talk about feminism, but what I'm saying
Okay,
is,
but
you
we're
know,
talking about black people here. So who benefited more out of feminism? Black men or black women? Because we're talking about black women and how they act and the kids that they raise. So we can't broaden the conversation to include things when we're talking about a very specific subgroup of people who've acted a very specific certain type of way.
but we can broaden it when we talking about your phallus, right? That's how that works. We can broaden it because you're not restricted to that, right? That's how that works.
I mean, but you're changing the conversation to mean
I'm
something
asking you, is that how that works? That how that works? We can broaden it when it comes to your phallus, because you can do certain things because you're productive, right? We can broaden it.
See, Boogie, you're almost right. Let me help you with being completely right.
I'm very right. Hey, go ahead.
All right, man. I love you, bro. All right. So what I'm saying is, it's broad when it comes to my choice on what to do with my productivity and what to wait on the opinion of. That's the only thing. So in my world, what women want don't matter because I produce. The fact that she can produce vaginal secretions doesn't mean anything to me because she has to do things that I want because of the power that I have. This is why you focus on money. Well, I already made the video, so don't think it's about you, but it's going to drop in the morning. But this is why you focus on money, power, and status versus game, mouthpiece, and swag. One, you can get both sides of the equation. The other, you can't get but one or the other. Because, see, I don't want to live in a world where I have to wait on getting my needs met based off what a woman thinks, especially this woman. No, I don't want to do things. I just don't want to do business like that. It's a very bad idea.
And you know, I would agree. I don't disagree. But I just think we coming in two different standpoints. I'm just talking about what's going on. It doesn't mean, once again, it doesn't mean I give a fuck about her opinion or that opinion. I just made a general statement. You know, the average guy that go to work 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, you know, doing what he do, you know, that's kind of who I'm talking about. And you know, there are more of those guys than MOTs of the world. You
I
know,
mean,
that's
but I
just
want to create more MOTs so that way they can stop having all this power. Like what I
so. How
want
about
men
this,
to
MOT?
do.
So how about you do this? How about you do more videos on how to become MOT instead of doing videos on why Ringo won't debate Black Ram?
That was one video.
Or doing videos about being select or non-select. When you think that would be more productive or less productive?
No.
I
I
would
think
think
that's
an
very.
MOT would transcend these kind of conversations.
No, I
That's
don't.
my honest opinion.
No. And my honest opinion on top of your honest opinion is you should not care about what women think. That's what the select, non-select argument is about. Caring about what women think, especially with their track record. Yes, that's how you become an MOT, is not caring about what these women think. Focusing on your productivity, getting away from these mentally disturbed people, and doing your own thing. I can't come out here and teach people how to be in trucking. Trust me, I got 7 people right now who are upside down in trucks because they took my information the wrong way. And I didn't even make videos on that.
Exactly. And I'm a truck driver as well. And it's a high turnover rate. And not a lot of Black men or men in general make it out here. So it's
because see, Boogie, the reason why I can't do that, as soon as Black men get money, you know what they do? Start caring about what women think, and they lose everything. That's why I keep telling men, I am helping them become an MOT by keeping all your money, by making better choices. This is why I'm like, you know what? When we have people in their 50s coming up with select and non-select male, dude, we need to stop caring about what women think. You can't teach from a system that you haven't retired from. You're not a medical professional. How can you come up with or care about what women think in a certain type of situation? It makes no sense. It's giving a bone towards women who make stupid and messed up decisions. When men have the choice not
in your pocket.
It does not. And this is why you should never care about what women think if they're not producing. Caring about what women think is the opposite of producing. You're producing for her and the government. And what you do when you care about what she thinks, you immediately decimate your productivity.
I would say.
You got to do. All right, go ahead.
I would say on some level, you did care what she think because you continue to make videos about it. I think you talk about it more than we talk about it.
See, Boogie. See, Boogie. You are recruiting for your army, and I'm going to recruit for my army.
I don't have an army. I'm just being honest, man.
I know.
Why?
But you're speaking for a certain segment of people.
Why is MOT? No. Well, here's where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Oh no.
So why isn't MOT creating a blueprint so maybe another guy could start a trucking industry? Why is he having videos about, once again, why Ringo TV Raw won't debate Black Ram? What does that have to do with the trucking thing? You know what I mean? What does that have to do with that?
See, Boogie, do I run a trucking channel?
Do you run a select channel? Do you run a debate channel?
Do I run a trucking channel?
No. What kind of channel do you run? MOT besides doing commentary on everybody else.
See, Boogie,
I'm kind of lost in what you even do.
I do videos based on male improvement. And yes, it does point out failures in society, but want to push failed narratives and programs that get you to think about what women want versus your own productivity. See, Boogie, I get what your game is. Your game is, I made it, my body's right, I can walk around with my shirt off and shit. Hey, I mean, you took it there, right? So here's the deal. You are speaking for women. You're speaking through them, through yourself, when nobody should care about what women want. All your points is wrap around to say, this is why you should do this or do that for additional women. I'm saying, dude, leave these women alone. Like I said, if I see them getting pounded out at 13 by 40-some-year-old dudes, nobody should be touching any woman in this society, period. I want people to work on their productivity and actually stay away from points of view from failed men in society. See, Boogie, where are the gray-bearded men who are 50 years old talking about select and non-select men in cultures that work? Your turn. Please show me where they are at.
Well, I wouldn't use the term select, non-select, but there are 50-year-old dating coaches in the white world. Check out the white manosphere. Now they don't use the term select, non-select, but check out the 21 convention. Look at the speakers. They are out there. George Bruno.
I said other cultures that function. We're not talking about the Western world. We're talking about other cultures that function properly.
Oh, now we're not. Oh, okay.
Yes,
now
because that's what it's all about. Things that function properly. If we bring up these failed things from failed cultures that work, because they're coming to this convention and nobody's leaving with anything because they're practicing the same sort of things rather than packing up, getting their stuff and going elsewhere. White
Which is
dudes
why they
have,
beefing over there now.
yes, and that's exactly what they're doing. See, Boogie, you have to understand, man. This is why I say this. There is no reason for a man, period, to accept women's behavior. Accepting women's behavior is a choice. Talking about what she wants to do is also a choice. And this is why you become productive, so that way you're not worried about what a woman thinks. Because this person who you're going to spend all this time on in this culture and society is going to turn around and knife you in the face as soon as you're not looking. Why? Because she's incentivized to do so. So why don't you incentivize your own pockets by keeping away from this woman? And what I do is I talk about these sort of things that older men have pushed, because guess what? He could have passed down a better system, but he didn't. He's pushing stuff that didn't work, that he didn't retire from himself. And if you listen to his video, he's not even a select male himself. And he also said he takes everybody's experiences and put it out there. So the concept that he came up with to actually explain females' dating criteria selection process is not even something that applies to him. So how can you come up with the status of a select male when you're not even one yourself? This is why you leave this stuff in the hands of social psychologists, not unlicensed practitioners of bullshit.
Well. We can look at Dr. George Buss, the same guy that Obsidian always referenced, and yeah, he said the same thing. But look, because the conversation got way out of pocket. But just like I say, MOT,
it's all on target.
No.
It's all on
just like I say, MOT, I find it amazing because you speak so eloquently, but then you get down to the pig slop with Ringo and Black Ram. And when I talk about who
there's a very specific reason. There's a very specific reason why I asked the question. Would you like to know why?
I don't care, man. I'm gonna be honest, man, because
I
think that's beneath
you just asked the question.
I think it's beneath you.
No, I don't think it's beneath me at all.
I think it's hella beneath you. I think it's very beneath you.
No.
I think you should leave that to the mortals. I think you should leave that to the guys. And you stay in the clouds.
No. Look at you, man, telling me where my place is. Like, where are we going with this?
I'm just saying, MOT should stay in the clouds. We need more black men in the clouds, not down here in the pig slop. But you know what, MOT? Since we diagnosing people tonight, water always seeks its own level, my brother. And that's never going to change. That's some more nature for you, my brother.
Okay, all right. So, see, Boogie, the reason why I wanted Ringo TV Raw and Black Ram to debate each other, because they both talk about the Most High. They both talk about that specific concept. Now, I know Ringo TV Raw is a fundamentalist Christian. I don't know anything about Black Ram's religious history because he never talked about it. So, in order to have this conversation about, come on, man, like we got to do that every time I talk. Listen, every time we need to have this conversation, because we can't have men nakedly caping for women, telling people to stay here locally to deal with this trash here while trying to put restrictions on men. Ringo TV Raw did not put restrictions on women. That's why dudes are leaving in the first place. So it's totally relevant. It's about male choice. He set up a polygamous union. Yes, that was a choice. And Black Ram should be able to travel and do whatever he wants to. That's a choice also. I want to know how we get male choice confused with staying here and making sure that these women have somebody to date. That's not our job to make sure they retire. That's why I wanted them to have the debate. And I mean, I covered all those points in the video. I know you think it's beneath me that I can have that sort of conversation, but see, Boogie, that's what freedom is about, man. I want to put points on the board for people who think like me. And it's time for people who think otherwise. It's time for us to grow our numbers and stop being silent about it and challenge every single thing that's out there. So that way, these people who want to speak for women, that they have nowhere to hide except for with women. That's that's what my channel is about. I know you may think it's beneath me, but I think it is great that I'm able to do this, especially from a person from the standpoint that I'm in, because there is not enough productive black men, especially in my position, who are talking about how they dodged all these circumstances of caring about what a woman thinks, which is going to give you a net loss. It's not that different.
And my thing is, I find it, I've always, said this, and I'm glad Edward Anderson said it before. I find it fascinating that these guys, they will say water will seek its own level, when they are considered sexually preferred. But they never talk about the long term when I see them under a bridge or in the street or in a tent, homeless, because they was only sperm preferred. See, people think that just
Yo, you
because
take my
they
comment out of context, my brother.
but that's what I'm saying though. You got a lot of people that are on that side that will sit over here and say F productivity. They want this D
Who's
game.
saying that? I'm trying to figure out.
I'm talking about on the so-called game side, the so-called people who's following these dating coaches. I didn't say you, but I'm talking about people who are following these dating coaches will say F the productivity, get your D game up, and women will listen. And I'm sitting over here, I'm listening, I'm looking at it, I'm like, that is so matriarchal as hell.
Jesus Christ.
So my thing is that if water seeks its own level, and let's be honest, man, a lot of black men ain't got their shit on point. Let's go ahead and clear the bullshit, man. So when I'm sitting over here saying that, man, we don't care about women's choices, I don't give a dang what gets they tingles wet. I really don't care, because a lot of that is subjective as heck. A woman can look at a dude's hair, and if he got that Rico Suave hairline, she's gonna pull the panties up, but don't even make the dude a quality dude. So it don't matter, because look at your community.
Yo, but you know what I find just fascinating, and this fascinates me. I mean, more than anything, I've spent long nights thinking about this shit, and I'm telling you, man, I look on YouTube, and the guys that say they don't care about women the most, boy, they pumping out a lot of content about women. And that fascinates me, because if I say I don't like Brussels sprouts, I will never mention Brussels sprouts. but see, I'm just not taking a lot of things on face value, because what I seen was, and even just my experiences on YouTube, if we want to just dive in a little bit deeper, I've never, kind of look, put it like this. One of my first 5 videos was a workout video back in the day. And I just put it up, just having fun. I was having fun. I was calling out in the gone. It was fun. And a few guys hit me up like, yo, man, put up some more workout videos. And I was like, all right, cool. Now, that was that. But it never, I never pushed that off on anybody else. I'm like, look, if anything, you might want to work out for your health. I've said that plenty of times. You need a strong heart to live. Bottom line, you know what I mean? None of what I ever would say is predicated off what women think. But me just stating the obvious is like a crime around this motherfucker, man. It's like, dog, I mean, take it how you want it, but at the same time, if we want to go there, man, then let's really go there. I'm gonna be honest, man. MOT, show me the guy, show me the millionaire in any other culture that's gonna play in the pig slot. I mean,
see, Boogie.
you seem to
I
play
understand. See, Boogie. Here's why I do it. You want to be the king of the roost, bossing these men around, and I'm not gonna fucking let you do that. That's why I'm a boss motherfuckers around from my point of view. So that way they can know there's another side to this shit. I don't give a fuck about what these people think, and that is what I want to produce. I understand that you want to be the only person. No. You just want to speak for women, and you want to down men and do all this shit and act like you give a fuck about them, while simultaneously don't give a fuck about it.
Matter of fact, let me interject, because you know what? A lot of these guys I don't give a fuck about, because you know why?
Okay.
Do you know how much heat I've taken? Hold on. Do you know how much heat I've taken off YouTube simply because I am who I am, and I did nothing wrong to anybody, and you know, the trolling, the doxing, and all of this came before I just took a hard stance. Like, you know what? I'm gonna swing this mirror around, or whoever get hit gonna get hit. So you're right. It's a segment of these guys I don't give a fuck about, and you want to know why? Because they
tell us more about those guys.
Because they ran the file to me, and who had my back besides a few guys? Who had my back when these guys ran the file by me? See what I'm saying? So my thing is, I'm gonna
ran the
defend
what
my
by you?
position.
Wait. Ran the what by you?
A file. Ran the file by me.
What does that
You
mean?
see what I'm saying?
Disrespecting
me. Disrespecting.
I would have to disagree with that, because you came at some people kind of sideways, especially Edward Anderson. So
because Edward Anderson said my name.
No, he didn't say your name.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
Actually, Pharaoh, he made a live stream, and he did mention.
He said the whole thing about the self-improvement piece, because somebody went and told him that they did a live stream about that.
Before that, I'm telling you, he said me and Kevin Samuel's name.
Yeah, because somebody told him that they did a live stream right after he did the self-improvement piece, referring to his argument. So he told people that he did not give a dang what people think. Yes, he brought your name up, but he didn't say anything until or how you said it on that level. He just told you don't bring his name up. He didn't care.
And it's at that point where, as men, we really need to take a look at the shit and be like, really? Okay, because again, like, YouTube is this supposed to be a reflection of our real world realities here? I mean, we're talking about one guy, he says a video, and then somebody else does a video, and this guy says something because he thinks that maybe he's responding to them saying, God damn, dude, really?
No, I think that's neither here nor there, but we need to close this out, because I think we've ran our course here on this.
I think it's done.
Yeah. Thank everybody for hitting the like button, and all the new subscribers who just signed up couple minutes ago, a couple hours ago. Also hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust. Make sure you follow MOT on YouTube, youtube.com/Man of Tomorrow. Make sure y'all follow C Boogie, youtube.com/C Boogie Productions, Dom Gang Division. See you all tomorrow night on Haitian Solidarity. Shalom, everyone.
Peace.
Shalom. Appreciate it, Mike.